We're learning more about a body found in a Provo shed. Police arrested 53-year-old Arturo Carrion and booked him into Utah County Jail on suspicion of murder. Police say Carrion told them Lisa was in the shed. Lisa is the name of his former girlfriend. Police say Lisa is on the missing persons list and that Carrion has been previously arrested for domestic violence. The investigation is ongoing. A man is dead after being found unconscious on 35th Street and Washington Boulevard in Ogden. He was taken to the hospital after the Ogden Fire Department found him while headed to a call. Police have not identified the man, but say the circumstances of his death are under investigation. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Federal workers have until tonight to respond to another email from the government asking them to list 5 things they accomplished last week. Utah Senator John Curtis says that's a reasonable request.
So I don't think this is a request that is that difficult. I would ask my employees to let me know what they're doing. But I will double down on the fact of we don't need to be so cold and hard, and let's put a little compassion and, quite frankly, dignity in this as well.
In an interview with Face the Nation on CBS this weekend, Curtis said American voters asked for a change, and we're seeing that change at work now. Your money at this moment, the Dow's up 26 points. That's 0.06%, not even 0.1%, 43,454. Coming up, we still have lots of slow spots out there despite this beautiful sunshiny weather. Traffic and weather together is next. KSL News Time, 9:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Let me tell you an amazing story. Last week, a customer came in. They were a creative director for an agency, and they were frustrated that their old, slow computer wasn't processing their files quick enough. He had a big project due and could not afford any delays. Well, we hooked him up with one of our new, powerful 2025 desktops for only $999, and he was able to complete his project with ease. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Social Security is with you through life's journey from birth to retirement. As your life changes year to year, so do your needs. For over 80 years, Social Security has helped to meet your needs and is committed to improving access to the services that make a difference in your life. Today, you can verify your earnings, estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, manage your benefits, and even change your address, all from the comfort of your home. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Dave and Debbie.
It's impossible to digest and consume all of the news that's now coming at us through either social media or through web pages or through the radio. Pick what is most impactful in your life and focus on that. And that's what Dave and I do every single morning. We pick those issues that are most important to our listeners and we boil it down so it's digestible. It's simple to understand.
I think we're trying to find the essence of the story. You know, you can't be an expert on all things, but that doesn't mean you can't be curious and really find out more and educate yourself and learn the complexities of an issue. But I think all of us start at ground zero on everything. Ask questions, show that curiosity.
And then if you need more research, you can always go to KSLNewsRadio.com and learn more.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Here's Jared Auger.
The Spaghetti Bowl, where we had this crash going from eastbound 201 I-80 and it's merging to southbound I-15. That has caused a big, slow mess in that vicinity. So if you're getting into the Spaghetti Bowl right now, that's what's going on. Once you get out of that, you're going to see better speeds. But northbound I-15 still slow to clear out from this morning's commute. It's going to be heavy and slow from Midvale into Murray. And then I-215 south belt, as you're heading eastbound up towards Cottonwood Heights, you're going to see some slow traffic as there was a crash earlier just before you get to that 2000 East exit. I'm Jared Auger in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather now. Today will be partly cloudy but warm. Highs could get up to 60. Tomorrow, much of the same. Right now, it is mostly sunny and 43 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
Well, Dave, I was standing at my oven, starting to boil some water for 2 hard-boiled eggs, which, by the way, cost me about $1.50 each. This morning when I saw this cross, and I immediately thought of you, and I thought of, well, is this President Trump's plan? Part of the tariff plan? Because Apple is going to build artificial intelligence servers in Texas, spend $500 billion in the United States, create 20,000 jobs, open up a facility in the next couple of years in the Lone Star State. And all I could think about, is this a win? Is this the beginnings of a win for President Trump's tariffs?
Cook in the office from Apple, he's investing hundreds of billions of dollars too. We're going to have a lot of chip makers coming in, a lot of automakers coming in.
I mean, that is incredible. $500 billion? That's what Apple's going to spend, $500 billion? It's going to create 20,000 jobs? I mean, that is absolutely amazing. If you tie that directly to the tariff plan, if you can do that, yeah, that's a win. That's a win on a level that I don't know if we've ever seen before. But this isn't the first time that President Trump has had one of these tariff wins. Ford Motor Company wanted to build a bunch of factories down in Mexico. And President Trump, this is in his first term, comes in and says, you do that, and I'm going to tariff you 10 ways, 10 different ways. And what does Ford do? They build it here. They build it in America. So we have seen a couple of instances now where the tariff plan has actually brought factories and jobs back here to America, or kept jobs here in America.
So when President Trump announced something like the most beautiful word in the dictionary when it was on the campaign trail to him is the word tariffs, I was like, this is going to create, I worried that this is going to create a situation where we are paying higher and higher prices because tariffs are passed on to the consumer. Whatever company is receiving the goods pays the tariff in the United States. And then I think, well, they're probably just going to pass that cost on to me, right? Because as you like to say, they're not running a charity here.
Yeah.
Right? But I also look at this announcement in a couple of different ways. I do worry that because it's made in the United States, prices are still going to be higher. So we're going to higher prices with tariffs, but we also have higher prices for products that are made in the United States because labor here is more expensive in general. And we know that there's cheap labor in other parts of the world. It doesn't make it right. You know, where people are forced into labor. I mean, you and I talked about this before the show today. In some parts of the world, humans are forced to do labor and do things that, you know, are unsafe. They're in horrible working conditions. They hardly make any money doing it. And we buy those products at a cheaper price because labor is cheaper.
And we close our eyes. And we don't want to learn about why these prices are cheap or who produced them. We just want our cheap prices. But at some point, we can't close our eyes any longer to what is happening around the world. We have seen the cobalt mines in Africa being mined by children in completely unsafe, dangerous conditions. There's ample evidence of this. I just saw a video the other day from Mr. Beast. So Mr. Beast is the biggest YouTuber on the planet. He does all the crazy things where kids show up to get Halloween candy and he hands out brand new iPhones.
Really?
Right? He's just one of these wild creators, and he's very generous and does these crazy giveaways.
And your kids watch his YouTube
kids,
channel?
Are you kidding?
Okay.
Every time Mr. Beast posts something, everyone watches.
Because I was wondering, like, why are you watching?
You
YouTube
cannot,
channel?
Debbie. I'm shocked that you haven't seen everything.
I don't watch it, but I'm glad you did. So what did you learn from him?
So Mr. Beast is involved in just about everything, but he started a candy bar line.
Oh.
Right? He makes chocolate bars. They're called Feastables. I think that's what they're called. I've had the Feastable. It's a good chocolate bar.
What is it?
It's a chocolate bar.
Just plain chocolate.
It's chocolate, and then they got chocolate peanut butter. They got a few different things, but it's all basically a chocolate bar. But he was talking about where the chocolate comes from.
Oh.
And how once he found out that the chocolate is not ethically sourced, that meaning it was being harvested, these cocoa beans were being harvested by children in child labor. He's like, why are we allowing this? And then he learned, this is industry standard. Everybody's doing this.
Problem is, majority of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa. And so then I started studying and reading up about it. And I noticed that 46% of labor in West Africa on cocoa farms is child labor. They're constantly just telling me, like, it just is what it is. That's how chocolate always has been. And I was like, whoa, you guys make like $1 billion a year in profit. You don't see an issue with that being on the back of little kids?
My heart shattered. I want to listen to that one more time.
Problem is, majority of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa. And so then I started studying and reading up about it. And I noticed that 46% of labor in West Africa on cocoa farms is child labor. They're constantly just telling me, like, it just is what it is. That's how chocolate always has been. And I was like, whoa, you guys make like $1 billion a year in profit. You don't see an issue with that being on the back of little kids?
Oh, that's eye-opening.
And tariffs, in part, not only are they a business negotiating tool, but tariffs at their heart, what I understand them to be, is they're supposed to rectify unfair labor practices, right? So if we're going to grow cocoa beans here in America, and we're mandated to pay a certain wage, not $1 a day, like some are paying in West Africa, right? If we're mandated, then it's obviously going to increase the price of cocoa. But because we love the profits, we're going to turn a blind eye, pretend that half of the cocoa that's being produced is not being harvested by children in terrible working conditions. We're going to just pretend that's not happening. Well, we can only play that card so many times.
But as a consumer, I'm partly to blame too.
For sure. We all are. Because we had no idea about this, right? Did anyone know that half of the chocolate out there is being harvested by kids? And that's unfair. So the tariffs that you put in place, you have to say, this is an unfair labor practice. What you're doing is unethical, and we're going to have to punish companies that are taking advantage of this.
Dave and I talking about Apple's announcement. Well, I don't know if Apple has officially announced. This was in the New York Times. The president has made the announcement, at least.
Tim Cook in the office from Apple, he's investing hundreds of billions of dollars too. We're going to have a lot of chip makers coming in, a lot of automakers coming in.
Okay, so the New York Times is reporting Apple announces $500 billion investment in the United States over the next 40 years. Plans to create 20,000 new jobs, actually reporting across the country. And they're going to be establishing some artificial intelligence servers in manufacturing facility in Houston, Texas. And that will be opened by the year 2026. So this is happening really, really quite quickly. What I wondered when I saw that alert this morning, really early this morning, come across is this a win or the beginning of a wins for President Trump's tariff plan? He said along the campaign trail, he thinks tariffs is one of the most beautiful words in the dictionary. And we saw earlier, right after he took office, he had threatened tariffs against Mexico and against Canada, and actually implemented additional tariffs for imports for China. Now, he put the Mexico and the Canadian tariffs on hold, talked about trying to shore up some issues at the southern and northern border and said, okay, I'll take a pause on those. But in the meantime, what Dave and I are talking about is this announcement about Apple bringing a huge investment across the United States, creating 20,000 new jobs. And will that potentially drive up the price of goods because it's made in America? And I'm just as guilty as you are and everybody else is of buying for cheap. Right? I'm shopping for the lowest price. So we're going to take live calls in just a minute. Be honest. Bet you shop for the best deal. You don't even know what's made in America. You don't even know what's made in America. You just like to say, we need to make it in America. Well, it sounds like Apple is making a huge investment in America. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. I want you to be honest. This is an honesty test. Bet you shop for the best deals and you don't even know what's made in America. In a few minutes, I've got a long list of products that are made in America. Frankly, I didn't even know they were.
I remember my grandpa talking about exclusively buying his vehicles that are made in America. Mm-hmm. So he was Ford, Chevy, GM. It's got to be made in America. I will never buy a foreign car. Right? That was his staunch made in America. This is what I will purchase. I will buy an American car. And then American cars, well, they stopped producing the best car out there. And Toyota and Honda and Hyundai, they started making these incredible vehicles with great gas mileage. And all of a sudden we started thinking, well, I mean, I'd love to buy an American car, but how do I turn down 37 miles to the gallon? I can either do 13 miles to the gallon to my Dodge Charger, or I can buy the 37 mile to the gallon Honda Civic. So we started buying foreign vehicles because they were better in some ways. But I think we've lost some of this attitude of buy American, buy American, buy American.
Do you think it counts that Toyota is manufacturing a lot of the cars in the United States now, even though it's a Japanese company?
Does that change things?
Does that change things for you? So I'm reminded because I just recently bought a Toyota, and I've bought Toyotas over the years. They're good, reliable cars, right? Most of the Toyotas on the road in the United States came from a manufacturing plant in America. So does that change things? Just because it's a Japanese brand, but if it's manufactured in the U.S., does that make you feel better? Is that close enough to being made in America?
I have no idea where my vehicle is made. I don't. It doesn't even cross my mind. I've purchased a Honda Civic. I've bought a Jeep. I've purchased these things, and not once has it crossed my mind, oh, I wonder where this was made. Because I just don't care. I'm looking for a good vehicle or a great vehicle at a good price, and who made it and where it came from. It doesn't enter into my mind.
I think most people don't know if their vehicle, if that sweater they're wearing, if those shoes they're going to buy is made in America. You just don't know. You don't know. You don't look it up. You don't research it. You like to say it, though. You love to say it. Made in America. We need to bring more manufacturing back to America. Well, Apple, which of course is the iPhone and AirPods and iPads and so many other products, has made this announcement this morning that it's going to be making a $500 billion investment in the U.S. over the next 4 years, building an AI facility, hiring 20,000 employees across the United States. So does that make a difference? I mean, so many people I know own Apple iPhones. They own Apple products. They swear and live by Apple. They wouldn't have it any other way. Well, do you even know if that iPhone you're carrying was made in America? What about those AirPods you bought your kids for Christmas? You don't even know if it's made in America. 801-575-TALK, 801-57-TALK. Let's be honest here. Bet you don't even know what you're wearing or what device you're carrying is made in America or not. Let's admit it.
And there's a lot of things where it may be made in America, but all the products or everything it takes to assemble it was made somewhere else. But just because it was assembled here in America, then is it really made in America? If every piece of linen was
purchase from some other country. It's such a
qualifies.
global,
Yeah.
it's such a global economy right now,
Uh-huh.
where even a vehicle that may be completely and totally assembled here in America, is that Chinese steel? Is that American steel? Is that aluminum? Where is that coming from?
Get under the hood.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Hi,
No one's
Craig.
looking.
Hi, Craig. Hey,
how's it going?
Good. You think that people are buying in America because it's more expensive, or buying overseas because it's more expensive or cheaper? What?
So what my point is there has to be a balance here, and I'm a little bit ashamed of our government because the consumer, I mean, obviously, if we can bring things over and manufacture them here and they're within 10 or 20% of what we can get them for over there, then fine. Let's bring those jobs over. But otherwise, let's not penalize the American public just to save, to help our big businesses that are already making a lot of money, like our car manufacturers. I have a perfect example. You have 30 seconds?
Yes, go for it. 30 seconds.
Okay. Go look it up. Google a car from China. It's called the Seagull. It's like a seagull that flies, our state bird. It's a beautiful car, and it's like they came out and they said to me, all the safety standards in the U.S., this brand new electric vehicle would cost $14,000. And instead of just putting a little tariff on and letting Americans enjoy, affordability that the American car manufacturers are not willing to do. Even Tesla pulled away from last year from their car they were going to do that cost less. Then what they did is they threw 100% tariff, never been done before, 100% tariff against these cars to keep them out of the U.S. So my point is, I think there needs to be a balance. I think obviously most Americans would like jobs moved here, but at the same time, let's not just protect the big automakers and so on that are already making so much money, and penalize the consumer to the point that we don't have an option that would have helped so many families over here. That's my point.
Craig, thank you for the call. It is difficult, right? It's difficult as an American. If I can buy something cheaper elsewhere, that's gonna rule the day. Right? Ultimately, I'm looking at my bottom line. I'm not looking where it's made. I'm not looking at whether or not what is being made is ethically sourced. I'm not doing that kind of research. My research is, can I get it for $14 instead of $17?
So here's a list, according to Reader's Digest, of products that are still made in America. The Louisville Slugger baseball bat. Dave, you've been a coach for a long time. Did you know that? Yes or no?
Yeah, that's absolutely.
You did know that?
Yep.
Give thumbs up. Okay, what about Wilson footballs?
Yeah.
You did know that?
Yep.
How about Gibson guitars? Still made in America.
No.
How about the KitchenAid stand mixer that I have had for 30 years? Well, I would have that idea.
Yeah.
You might not have that idea, but I do.
Is that American made?
Yeah, American made. I did not know it when I bought it. But I own one, and I've had one for almost 30 years, and it still works beautifully. Let me find another one. Lodge cast iron skillets.
Cast iron, Dutch ovens.
Did you know that Lodge was made in America?
No.
Okay.
No.
Operating in Tennessee since 1896.
Sounds American, but I didn't know it was American.
I absolutely love my cast iron skillet. I did not know that Lodge, which is the brand I happen to buy, was made in America when I bought it. I just bought it because I thought it'd be a good cast iron skillet. Turns out it is. Hi, Jake. We've got 30 seconds. What's your take?
Yeah, no, thanks for the 30 seconds. I just to keep my opinion simple, I understand that there's always going to be an affordable option, sometimes out of country, but I know what it's like to buy a product online that's out of country, and all of a sudden it's not the product I ordered. For example, I ordered a sweater. It was supposed to have zippers. The sweater I got had printed zippers on it and not actual zippers. And so sometimes when you're ordering from third-party websites, you don't get what you ordered. And, I mean, that's not to say everything is unreliable, but I'm principally going to be like, we got to better the American economy, and that's what I want to see happen here.
Jake, just because you want a real zipper? I mean, come on.
Silkscreen zipper's not doing it for you? It's a quarter zip. It's a quarter zip.
Jake, I got to ask you to just send it back?
They said that all they could do was to give me credit on the store, but I didn't want to order another thing from them because I didn't know if I was going to get a different fake order.
Oh, how much did you pay for it? I got to know.
Oh, it was like $30.
Yeah, there you go. $30 doesn't even buy you a zipper. But it looked great on Instagram, though.
Faux zipper.
Looks
That's
great
amazing.
on Instagram.
All right, we'll return to this conversation in the 11 o'clock hour. So if you are lined up on the phone lines, we can bring you back into the conversation in our 11 o'clock hour. Straight ahead, unexcused absences at school. Well, next, the high school that's charging a $5 fee. Yeah, in Utah. That's next.
Jeff Kaplan. When I was a kid, my parents got me a subscription to Newsweek magazine. I would devour every page into the night. And to this day, I sit on my iPad looking for stories for my minute of news, flesh out our coverage, and I get to share the news with you.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
When I started with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, it's because I was looking for some serious results. Now, I tried to lose some weight in the past, and the most difficult thing was just sticking to the program. And I think most people have experienced that. It's just sticking with it. Well, one of the reasons Salt Lake City Fat Loss worked for me is because I paid for the program. And when you pay for a program, which is not easy to do, I get it, hard-earned money. When you pay for a program, I think there's a level of accountability because you're not going to pay a bunch of money and then just cheat every single day and eat your cheeseburgers with French fries and a milkshake, right? Because you're invested in your long-term health. So with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, I was able to lose 57 pounds in 60 days, and I did it without any surgery, without any injections. So if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to them. Schedule a free consultation. If you do it right now, you're going to get an extra $200 off the program with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. So go ahead and reach out to them. The website is slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
Salt Lake Community College doesn't just support students. We support the economy.
Partnership we have with Salt Lake Community College provides us with that skilled workforce that really allows us to grow. Stadler is in an explosive growth cycle. Salt Lake Community College is the pipeline to give us that workforce that will keep us stable and provide us with that economic security.
SLCC is invested in creating a strong workforce for a strong Utah. See our impact at slcc.edu/community.
At Golden Rule Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, our golden opportunity is back. The free furnace promotion is here and just in time for tax return season, and this time it's even better. Our free furnace promotion on any complete system replacement now includes no payments for 1 year. Free furnace, no payments. Now that's the Golden Rule. Visit goldenrulephc.com today.
We obey the rules to live by. Golden Rule, plumbing, heating, and cooling.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
I'm Rod with the Save Right team at Realty Path. I also own Save Right Mortgage. When building this new and disruptive business model, my attorney said, quote, "You'll rock the boat and make your competitors mad. There's no way they can compete with the value Save Right offers home buyers." She's right. Other real estate agents and mortgage lenders can't compete with Save Right. However, Utah homebuyers love Save Right. Save Right homebuyers get bankbuster loans with below-market interest rates. Save Right clients buy bigger, nicer homes. Their monthly payments are hundreds less. Bankbuster loans save homebuyers hundreds of thousands in interest. Start with a rate in the twos. Call 801-APPROVE or visit SaveRight.com. Start with a rate in the twos. Call 801-APPROVE or visit SaveRight.com.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top local story this hour. Children who are adopted in Utah are asking for easier access to their own adoption records. A bill sponsored by Representative Raymond Ward would allow adoptees to obtain their original birth certificate without having to appear before a judge.
We just do better when we have a connection to our past. It helps us know who we are.
Ward says if the birth parents have a reason for those records to remain sealed even once their child becomes an adult, they can make that request. The bill only needs a stamp of approval from Governor Spencer Cox before becoming law. The bill to remove fluoride from Utah's drinking water is headed to the governor's desk. If signed into law, it would take the decision out of the hands of local water districts, banning any of them from adding the chemical that dentists say is crucial to preventing cavities. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Mortgage rates are causing concern on Wall Street.
According to the National Association of Realtors, sales of previously owned homes fell nearly 5%. The average home for sale in the last month spent 41 days on the market. That's the longest period since January of 2020. Inventory so lean, it's putting pressure on many Americans' wallet, with the average price of a home at an all-time high for January.
ABC's Phil Lipoff reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow clinging to a gain of 173 points, 0.4% at 43,601. Coming up, we still have a few slow spots on the road, but we've got some beautiful weather to deal with it all. KSL traffic and weather coming up next. KSL News Time, 9:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
The system is rigged against you. There's a lot of money to be made keeping you overweight and unhealthy.
At Soda Weight Loss, we have one goal, and that's to help you let go of the weight for good, without shots, without drugs, without hunger.
So I lost 25 pounds. I was never hungry. It was very, very easy. I couldn't believe how fast the weight came off.
With Soda Weight Loss, you get real results that will last your whole life.
I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks. Feels great. I fit into my clothes again.
Soda Weight Loss is the #1 weight loss center in America for client satisfaction and results, and we have the proof at sodaweightloss.com.
Right now, for a limited time, 2 people can start with soda for the price of 1 for new clients only.
Double the reward, double the motivation, half the cost.
Get healthy. Beat the system. Visit sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda Weight Loss is, say it with me, state of the art.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Here's Heather Kelly.
Looks like most of our accidents have cleared across the Wasatch Front. You may still see a few brake lights northbound I-15 in South Salt Lake right as you try to get onto eastbound I-80. Other than that, we've got pretty good speeds as you make your way through Weber, Davis, Utah counties. Traffic is still easing up on 2100 north down in Utah County as you make your way over to I-15, but that's the longest stretch of delay we have anywhere. Mark your calendars for the 10th Annual Salt Lake Off-Road and Outdoor Expo to be held at Mountain America Expo Center, February 28th through March 1st. For tickets and information, visit slorex.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather now today will be partly cloudy but warm. Highs will be in the upper 50s, maybe even up to 60. Tomorrow, much of the same. Right now, it is sunshine, and in Salt Lake, 45 degrees, Ogden, 45 degrees, and in Provo, already up to 46 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, schools across Utah, and frankly, many across the country, Dave, have been wrestling with what's called chronic absenteeism. Means kids are just not showing up over and over and over again. This isn't a onesie or twosie issue, like a couple of days here and there. This is they're chronically absent. So I wondered if this fee at Hunter High School that we're going to talk about in just a moment is helping with that. Whereas you get an unexcused absence on your record, you get a $5 fee that needs to be paid. We're going to get more information in just a minute on how it's working, if it's working, from the Granite School District Superintendent.
And oftentimes, truancy is not skipping an entire day worth of school. It's skipping one class you don't want to go to, one test you don't want to take. So they may be on campus, but they just don't show up to math class because I can't take that math test.
What's your feeling about dealing with chronic absenteeism in the classroom, and what is the best way to get kids back to school? Is it a fee, or is there some other way out there to get them back to class?
No, it's great. I think catching them, number one, making sure the crackdown, and that when kids are skipping class, that we're making sure that they know they got caught. And then once they get caught, if they're not changing, if they don't change behavior, then you've got to bring the punishment in. And maybe that punishment is a fee, or because you can only threaten graduation 3 years from now so many times and they just tune you out. So you need something more immediate.
So I think part of it for me would be getting to the bottom of why. Is there something going on at home? Is there something going on in school? Are they being bullied? Is their home life so difficult that they just can't make it to school? Is there depression or anxiety involved? I think that would be a really critical component if I were looking into this. But Ben Horsley, the superintendent of the Granite School District, has been looking into it. I mean, when I look at numbers, and I know it's been hard since the pandemic, Ben, to get kids back to the class, but I mean, it was a year and a half ago or so we were reporting that 25% of kids are chronically absent. Is this fee at Hunter High, and I would imagine other high schools, is it working to keep kids in school if they have to pay for each unexcused absence?
Yes and no. To be clear, we don't want their money. We want them in class. And back in 2017 with juvenile justice reform, there was two pieces to that made vaping or tobacco violations on school property and truancy non-referable offenses, meaning the police could no longer cite you for those types of instances. So now what have we seen? We've seen an increase since 2017 of truancy on school property and of vaping on school property because kids know they can't get referred to court anymore. So what this process and this policy requires is when you are caught in the hallway, you are immediately checked in by an administrator with a number and an email sent to your teacher of the class you're supposed to be in. If you don't show up within a reasonable amount of time, usually within 10, 15 minutes of that time, then you're charged a truancy fee. So this isn't you're late or you are truant. It's when you're caught and you don't show up to class 10 minutes later, then you get the fee. But I don't want it. I want kids to just go to class. That would be great.
Hey, right. Your $10 is not going to change the way this school runs, student number 5. But when you're seeing them, what are the reasons? Why are they not showing up? I mean, when they're on campus, is it because they're just wandering the halls? Are they trying to skip out on tests? Are they vaping or just hanging out with their friends? Is it just
all the above?
All the above.
All the above. Now, I got to tell you, sometimes there are kids in one-off situations who are experiencing some anxiety or some other emotional challenges. This isn't in that situation. That would be a referral to the social worker at the school to get in touch with family, provide some additional supports. If you're just hanging out on school property without any good reason for not being in class, then you're given the opportunity and the choice to go to class. And then, and only then, if you don't show up after that, is this truancy ticket enforced.
How many truancy fees, like how many $5 fees can a kid get? And then what happens if they don't pay up?
Well, at some point in time, you're considered on a 10-day drop. So if you're not showing up to class that inconsistently, we're looking at other interventions. We're not there for the money. Again, this isn't a money maker. This is about trying to incentivize kids in some way because it used to be, but prior to 2017, if you didn't show up to class, your parents would get a summons to court for not getting you to class, right? Because ultimately we need parents to engage on that. So there's a lot of other interventions that go into this once it's been escalated beyond a handful of instances of truancy, and most of those include trying to get with parents to find out what the core root of the truancy is.
If the kids can't pay, is there an alternative? Can they work it off?
Always, guys, we don't want their money. We just want them to go to class. So at the end of the day, our administrations have a wide latitude to help kids work these fees off in other ways as appropriate under state law. But most of the time, if we can work out an agreement and we involve and engage parents, we're just looking to get kids to go to class. And if they're willing to do so, most of those times those behavior contracts will waive the fee.
Ben, it's been a long time since I was in high school. Actually, it's 40 years this year. I remember getting caught literally walking out of my chemistry class with my best friend. We decided to, quote unquote, ditch class about 10 minutes early. Like, ooh, that's real edgy. And we got caught by the teacher. We heard somebody clearing their throat behind us. And we turned around, and there she was. And we turned around and went right back into the classroom. And of course, you know, we had like detention or something like that. We were held after. So is it different today? When kids hear a teacher clearing their throat behind them as they're trying to ditch class early, do they keep on walking nowadays? Or have you noticed a shift?
You will see kids who are ultimately very defiant towards any sort of authority, trying to persuade them to go to class. Again, kids know that police can't cite them. So even the presence of an SRO on school property does nothing to dissuade kids from leaving class. The kids that we're talking about are habitually truant, meaning they are causing a disruption on school property. So we're actually evaluating other types of interventions because these kids are causing safety issues. They're taking up 95% of an administrator's time, which should be focused on improving instruction as opposed to dealing with these types of behaviors. So unfortunately, it could be an FU or some other profanity. It could be just straight up ignoring. I've been in schools, in high schools, walking around with administrators coming across these students, and they will ultimately disregard any direction, and they'll just walk away. And ultimately, our last defense in that point in time is to have them trespass from school property because they're unwilling to go to class, and they're causing a disruption on school property.
Well, it's a fascinating conversation, and sounds like we're still trying to figure out the perfect, solution to this. And maybe it's the $5 fee. You know, maybe it's the stick that says, hey, you know, if you don't care about your pocketbook, then there you go. Hand it over, buddy.
Thanks.
All right, Ben. Thank you so much, Ben Horsley, the Granite School District Superintendent. But when you've got a quarter of kids in Utah that are chronically absent, when you have kids that are blatantly disrespecting teachers and administrators and then ignoring them and just walking away, like there's got to be more teeth available to these leaders.
I just want to know what has shifted in 40 years. Like my friend and I immediately made an about face and basically ran back into the classroom and scrambled back to our desks. I mean, we knew we'd messed up. We shouldn't have done that. I don't know what we were thinking, but we were thinking, let's just get out of here. And so we just walked out of the class. And you're just like, you're not going anywhere, ladies. Get yourselves right back in here. And by golly, we did. Is the $5 fee the answer? I'll tell you what. If I would have been charged a $5 fee back in the 80s, I would have been broke for months since I charged $0.25 cents an hour to babysit. It would have taken me 2 days to earn that $5 fee back so I could pay it off. Is the $5 fee the answer to unexcused absences in high schools across Utah? Let's let our listeners weigh in. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Your live call's next.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Is a $5 fee the answer to deal with truant kids in high school, or kids that have a lot of unexcused absences? Dave and I just hung up the phone with the superintendent of the Granite School District. We're talking about the $5 fee that kids can have assessed to them if they're like lingering and loitering in the halls, if they're truant to class. And we asked him if it's working.
It's what stands out to me. It's obviously not working, right? It's obviously not working. 25% of Utah kids are chronically absent. So whatever we're doing right now is not working. Maybe the $5 fee will nibble around at the edges. But I think as we were talking to the superintendent, Ben Horsley of the Granite School District, I think he hit on something. He talked about juvenile justice reform that happened several years back, where all of a sudden if kids are not showing up to class, if they're truant and they're on school property, if they're caught vaping, they can't refer these to the cops anymore. The cops can't come in and give them a citation and write them up for this. You just have to deal with it on school property. Well, if you're ignoring the school rules and you refuse to obey what the administrators or the teachers are saying, then they have no teeth. So what do you do? I mean, I feel bad that they have to try to figure out, hey, should we charge them $5 every time they don't show up to class? How about $10? How about $15? How about $20? But because we've taken so much of their ability to discipline kids, the kids are figuring this out and they're just ignoring any consequences.
I'm going to take live calls. 801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK. Always the line to call and let your opinion be heard here. Amy, you work in a school district. It sounds like you work with junior high students. Is this a district that charges fees for truancies?
Yes, if they're truant, which means they've left class. But if they're not attending and they have unexcused absences, we just give them warnings. There's not a fee. But honestly, I feel like, especially in junior high, I feel like the parents would just pay the fee for the child, and it really wouldn't have an impact.
Yeah. I'm that parent. I probably would. I mean, they might have to work it off through chores at home, but I would probably front them the money with no interest and let them pay off the fee. I would absolutely want to know why they were talking back or exhibiting the behaviors they were caught exhibiting. I mean, there's no question. I think if we get my 3 kids in here at any point in the future, they'd say they were afraid when I started sitting them down to ask questions about what is going on. But yeah, I'm that mom. I'm that mom. And what good does that do? Hi, Terry.
Hi. To your point, Debbie, I taught reading in elementary school for 12 years. It does not start in high school. It starts in elementary school. It is the family. It is the parents' attitude towards education. It's the parents backing up the teachers. I just tell you, it was so frustrating. There's these bright children. Their parents don't send them to school, and it's heartbreaking. It starts in elementary school with the family. And parents like you that make sure their kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing is huge.
Well, I remember, Terry, one instance in particular where I got an email from the school about one of my kids, and boy, I was on the phone right away. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes on, when your kids are at school that you're not aware of. But I responded right away, and then we went over for a sit-down conference, not during parent-teacher conferences. This was outside of parent-teacher conference weekend, and we discussed what the plan was going to be to deal with it. And it wasn't the only time I'd done that, but that was certainly one that stands out to me. And it turns out part of the issue was, sitting next to a buddy. And the two of them together, were creating all kinds of issues, if you will, for the teacher. So it was one of the things we did is we just said, look, you're going to sit in a different part of the classroom now. That's it. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Hi, Jay.
Hello, how are you this morning?
Oh, good. It's a beautiful Monday here. We got the sun shining, and we're talking about getting kids with a $5 fee in high schools. I mean, what could be better?
Well, that's the problem is kids don't even care, even like our last caller said, they don't even care in elementary. My daughter specifically, I look at her every morning, it's a fight. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school today. I don't want to go to school because she says I'm bored. I'm not learning anything. I'm not doing anything. So because of that fact, she says, I'm done. I just don't want to go. So what do we do besides force them? Well, the problem is that just makes them not want to go anymore. So where is that issue?
I have so many thoughts about this. Jay, thank you so much for your call. I have so many thoughts about this. I think every parent has probably faced that at one point or another. And if you haven't, maybe it's because your child's not sharing something with you. I mean, there could be all kinds of angles to this. I'm asking about, look, is there something going on at school? Is there something going on online where you feel like you don't want to go to school? Or what can we do to make school exciting for you? We talked about those off-site centers, Dave.
Yeah, the Catalyst centers. Yeah.
That schools are, and the Utah legislature is putting more money into. I mean, that was really amazing for my kids, like things like their EMT licenses, their certifications, auto shop, and other opportunities outside of math class.
But there's a certain level of, I don't care that you don't want to go to class. You got to go to class anyway, right? This is just the way it is. Like legally, you are obligated to go to school. It is state law that you have to show up, and we can try to figure out ways to make it less miserable for you, and we'll try to find those deeper problems that you have. But ultimately, some of this just comes down to you got to show up, and you got to show up every single day.
Hi, Jacob. You don't like the idea of charging kids $5, huh?
I don't, and the only reason it kind of got mentioned a little bit was I think the kids that are chronically truant are probably in a bad place at home. Now, it could be abuse going on or things like that. I think if you slap kids with a $5 fee, if they already have abusive parents, I think that would make it worse.
Yeah, there could be, and that's in part what is difficult about the juvenile justice reform is typically if there was a kid that was chronically absent, then you would get a court summons. The parent would get a court summons, and you'd have to show up in court and explain to the judge why your kid's not showing up to school. And if there is a deeper problem, if there's a bigger issue, then maybe that's where the state needs to step in and see, you know what, there's neglect, there's not support, there's not enough resources for this child. But now that we've pushed it all off on the schools and the administrators, where's the teeth? How do they force parents into being accountable?
We just spoke with the superintendent of the Granite School District here in Salt Lake County, Ben Horsley, and he broke down, when students might face this type of a fee, this $5 fee.
We've seen an increase since 2017 of truancy on school property and of vaping on school property because kids know they can't get referred to court anymore. So what this process and this policy requires is when you are caught in the hallway, you are immediately checked in by an administrator with a number and an email sent to your teacher of the class you're supposed to be in. If you don't show up within a reasonable amount of time, usually within 10, 15 minutes of that time, then you're charged a truancy fee. So this isn't you're late or you are truant. It's when you're caught and you don't show up to class 10 minutes later, then you get the fee.
Randy in Ogden, what do you think, Randy?
Oh, hi, yeah. My question was, where does the fee go? Like the host mentioned, like make school more exciting. Does the fees go maybe towards extra activities to maybe make the kid not want to skip school and skip class?
No, that's a good question. It goes to the general fund. So we do know that fee would go to the general fund, and the general fund can go to any number of things. It may go to school lunches. It may pay off some school lunch fees. They have a fair amount of discretion of how they're going to use that money. So, again, I think Superintendent Horsley was very clear. We don't want their money. we want them to show up to class.
Next, let's talk about DOJ's weekend email to federal workers with the subject line, "What did you do last week?" Several President Trump's newly appointed department heads told employees not to respond. That's next.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
If you've ever experienced running out of hot water before your shower was done, or hard water spots on dishes and fixtures, I've got a deal you might be interested in. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you probably already know that a tankless water heater and a water softener solve both issues. If you've ever thought about looking into getting a tankless water heater, here's the deal I was talking about. Through the end of February, we're including a free water softener with every new tankless water heater we install. The best part of this deal might be that you never have to worry about being the last one to the shower again, or that you don't have to waste the money keeping 40 to 50 gallons of water hot 24/7. To take advantage of this deal, call Any Hour Services before the end of February. The visit's free and there's no obligation to buy. If you decide to have us install a new tankless water heater, we'll throw in the water softener for free. That's right, a free water softener when you purchase a tankless water heater. Pick up the phone and call Any Hour Services right now for all the details. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
If you're struggling with your mortgage, there's a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Between all the holiday parties,
weekend tailgates,
and family get-togethers,
we've been overindulging a little more than usual over the holidays. But now, we are starting the new year off on a healthier note by taking Active Liver supplements from New Nordic every day.
Active Liver contains a powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract, all natural ingredients that help protect the liver so that it can protect you from toxins. It's like giving my body a daily detox. I've never felt better, and my energy is through the roof.
And my doctor is already impressed with how much better my numbers are looking. So if better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
Active Liver is available in both tablets and as a delicious gummy. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekday
weekdays, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. University of Arizona's athletic director is apologizing to BYU players and fans after a derogatory chant broke out after the Cougars' big upset win on Saturday. Emotions were running high after BYU was awarded a questionable foul call that set up game-winning free throws. Arizona fans started booing after seeing the replay, which was heard here on KSL News Radio.
And the pandemonium. Clock still shows 2.6.
Some fans proceeded to chant a vulgar term aimed at BYU and members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Arizona's athletic director has since apologized in a statement saying, quote, "The chant is not reflective of who we are and should not have happened." Our top national story this hour from ABC News, the Dakota Access Oil Pipeline has been in operation since 2017, and its owners are now going after Greenpeace in court.
Texas-based Energy Transfer says Greenpeace defamed, disrupted, and facilitated attacks on the company and its local subsidiary during the protests. Greenpeace says the lawsuit's really about trying to silence critics of the oil industry. Those protests garnered global attention, including a visit from Senator Bernie Sanders,
demanding that the Dakota pipeline not be built.
Greenpeace says it did nothing wrong. The trial's expected to last 5 weeks. Brian Clark, ABC News.
The Grammy-winning singer and pianist Roberta Flack has died at the age of 88. She was most known for her song Killing Me Softly with His Song. Her publicist says she passed away surrounded by her family. Flack became an overnight star in the early 1970s after Clint Eastwood used The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face in his film Play Misty for Me. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 134 points. That's 0.3% to 43,557. Coming up, spring-like weather today and most of the week. KSL Weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Woo! Up top, bike shop. Yeah.
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messethorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
At JCW's, we think tipping might be getting a little out of hand. Like when you're asked to tip at the register before you've even been served, or when you're at the yogurt shop and find yourself serving yourself. And don't even get us started on frosted tips making a comeback. That's why at JCW's, when you pay for a 3rd-pound ranch bacon cheeseburger, that's what you pay. And no one at the register is going to stare longingly at you while you awkwardly maneuver through the tip screen for food you don't even have yet. Honestly, we're just happy to see you at any of our 5 locations in Provo, South Jordan, Lehigh, Harriman, and American Fork. So come on in and enjoy some quality time and great food with family and friends. And we promise, we won't be pushing you for a tip.
Hey, this is Chris with JCW's, and we just want to say thank you, and especially to our loyal customers. We want you to know that at JCW's, your business is all the tip we need. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Is that a new Samsung Galaxy A15 5G?
Yeah, I got it for free when I joined Cricket Nation.
Sounds pretty great.
At Cricket, anyone can get a new phone when they switch.
Whoa.
With a high-quality camera, meaning more flattering selfies for all, and super fast 5G, so you can post them for all to see. Your friends, your family, your ex. Free phone! Free phone!
Okay, I'll switch.
Welcome to Cricket Nation.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax to its sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Let's check in with Heather Kelly.
We've got good speeds all across the Wasatch Front on the major roadways, especially I-15, both directions throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties. The only real slowdown we have right now is out in Tooele County, SR 36 southbound around Stansbury Park. That's where you have construction. You're down to one lane of travel, but other than that, things are looking great. Looking for Saturday morning fun for your kids? Try Utah Symphony's family concerts at Abravanel Hall. Kids' tickets start at $6. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we could get up to 60 degrees today, which is 10 degrees or more above the average temperature for this time of year. We stay in the 50s for most of the week, and it doesn't look like there's any storms until maybe Sunday. Right now, it is sunshine and 46 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Over the weekend, federal workers got another email from Doge, which is being headed up by Elon Musk. And the subject line said, "What did you do last week?" This email was a short one. I'm going to read through it in just a second. But basically told federal workers, reply detailing what you did on the job last week. Well, our very own Senator John Curtis on Face the Nation yesterday was asked what he thought of this email and honestly what's been going on with the firings of federal workers.
If I could say one thing to Elon Musk, it's like, please put a dose of compassion in this. These are real people. These are real lives. These are mortgages. It's a false narrative to say we have to cut and you have to be cruel to do it as well. We can do both.
And Senator Curtis is spot on there. Like, there's no reason to be harsh or cruel. But let's go back to the email itself. This is not an unreasonable request. Hey, what did you do last week? Give me a proof of performance. That is pretty standard, or should be standard in just about every job on the planet. I don't get why this is controversial. That he sends a little message to everybody. Hey, detail for me what you contributed last week.
So it says send 5 bullet points back. And reply to an HR email. So it's not replying to your supervisor, your chain of command. It's replying to an HR email. It says, please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week and CC your manager. Please do not send any classified information links or attachment. Deadline is this Monday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So about 12 hours from now.
So you have to hope you see that email on your day off. They're not in the hospital, maybe having a baby. You're not on vacation with your family. That you happen to check your email on a weekend and have those bullet points lined up to reply to an HR email. Obviously, CC your managers on there by Monday at 11:59. What if you're like on a vacation and you don't see that email? So there didn't seem to be much bandwidth, runway to get that email sent back. But regardless of what you and I think about this, several newly minted heads of the different departments, different agencies, came out and told their employees, do not reply. Put a pause on that. The Pentagon, the Department of Defense, said put a pause on that. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the new director of the FBI, put a pause on that. Do not reply to that email. The State Department, don't reply to that Doge email. The Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Energy, just to name a few. Some people actually, it sounds like, did reply. For whatever reason, they decided they needed to reply. I would think it's because you feel the pressure to reply when you get an email like that. And not only from that email, but because of what Musk later posted on his X account, which is failure to respond, will be taken as a resignation. So some of these agencies, even after their employees responded, said, you don't need to reply. Let's figure this out internally.
When I was listening to Senator John Curtis on Face the Nation, when he was talking about some of these things, he's like, you can't be too surprised about this.
We've tried subtle changes. We've tried the easy changes. We've tried working around the edges. And I think the American people are saying, it didn't work. Let's do something more dramatic.
So is this unconventional? No question.
We all knew what we were getting with President Trump. Right? Nobody should be really surprised at these dramatic shocks to the system. The system needs a shock.
Now, when he was talking about showing compassion and having that dose of compassion when you're firing people or trying to make these big changes, you've got to figure out a way to balance both. What you think the American people have told you to do, which is make massive changes in the federal government, but at the same time understand that these are human beings that are working, that are serving, that are civil servants, that have made sacrifices for their job, that are trying to better this country. So you cannot lose sight of either of those things. Number one, the need for big change, and number two, that you're talking to real humans right now.
Okay. Where I draw the line on that, Dave, is is this what the American people wanted them to do? Because when I look at what's been happening in the last couple of weeks, which is a lot of people have lost their jobs all of a sudden, there does seem to be mixed in with this a little bit of a bull in the China shop approach to this. So as part of these mass layoffs, these firings, actually, what they're being called firings, the nuclear safety team got bounced out of the office. And then, according to reporting by NBC News and others, they were recalled because they realized that, we just fired a whole bunch of people who understand our nuclear program in the United States. That sounds really, really important to me. And then they tried to recall them, and I don't know if they've had success getting all of them recalled back to their jobs. But NBC reported they didn't have contact information because, these people had been locked out of the systems, so they couldn't email them again, so they didn't have contact information. The bird flu. We're all worried about the price of eggs, and we're worried about the bird flu causing a continued increase in the price of eggs. I was at a grocery store the other night and said limit 3. And I went to another grocery store, and it was $8 a dozen. Well, the U.S. Department of Agriculture said, bird flu specialists were let go during this, what's being considered a purge of employees. So they were trying to bring these bird flu specialists back. What about our veterans? Well, the VA hospital has suffered job losses, including, I can't find an exact number, including some who staff the crisis line for veterans. And we know that veterans have a rate of suicide that we're trying to deal with. And they were attempting then to recall some of those who had been fired from the VA hospital, probably because they recognize that the services that we provide our veterans, all of whom who volunteered, by the way. I mean, all of them volunteered. We do not have a draft that they need to get some of these people reinstated so that our veterans can have the services that they have earned and they deserve. So the bull in the China shop doesn't always work, and I think those are 3 examples of when things have moved really too quickly. In a moment, we're going to take live calls, about this. Would you rather, if it were you, and maybe we'll have some federal workers call in, and it has been them, would you rather have the dose of compassion that our very own Senator John Curtis talked about yesterday on Face the Nation, or would you rather just have the Band-Aid ripped off?
Yeah, let me set this up the way it's playing in my head a little bit. There was a movie called Up in the Air. George Clooney He played a man whose job it was to fire people. Like, that was the entire premise of the show. Was his job was to go into a company and then to actually fire people. So he was the one. They put a little montage together of people that had just recently been let go, and you think, oh, those are just actors. No, what they did in the movie is they actually got people that had recently been let go, and they recorded their response for the movie. So they didn't use actors. They used real people in the movie. And when they were, and I want to play a little bit of this clip, you can hear the emotion in their voice because they had just recently been let go.
On a stress level, I've heard that losing a job is like a death in the family. But personally, I feel more like the people I worked with were my family, and I died.
I can't afford to be unemployed. I have a house payment. I have children.
I don't know how you can live with yourself, but I'm sure that you'll find a way while the rest of us are suffering.
And when I listen to that, that's who's been fired recently. Just regular folks showing up to work. So I don't want to minimize in any way the devastation of it for them individually. But at the same time, I'm not sure softening the blow by putting your arm around somebody and telling them they got fired or firing them through an email is really that much different. The result is the same. It's devastating on every level. And again, I'll go back. This is like the movie show worth of clips. I remember this scene from Moneyball, and it was Brad Pitt trying to teach his underling how to cut a player. And, his underling was trying to make it so, hey, you mean so much to the team. You've been great, and you will be missed. And this was the advice that Brad Pitt had.
They're professional ball players. Just be straight with them. No fluff, just facts. Pete, I gotta let you go. Jack's office will handle the details.
That's it? Really?
Would you rather get a bullet to the head or 5 to the chest and bleed to death?
Are those my only two options?
And that's that's a harsh visual, right? But would you rather just have it clean cut, rip the Band-Aid off? Hey, buddy, sorry, Dave, we got to let you go. Reduction in force. I wish I had better news for you. I'm sorry. Can you turn over your key card? I don't know if that's any worse than them coming in and sitting me down and saying, Dave, let me just tell you about the top 5 things we've loved about having you here. And we're going to fire you, right? For me, the result is the same. Just rip the Band-Aid off. We'd love to hear from you. What do you think? 801-575-TALK. Do you agree? Do you have to have this big dose of compassion, put your arm around you when you're getting fired, or do you just want to have it rip the Band-Aid off? Just tell me I'm fired, and I'll move on from there.
Yeah, we're going to take live phone calls. 801-575-TALK, as Dave said. Dose of compassion or rip the Band-Aid off. We're talking in depth right now about the email that went out from DOJ to federal workers over the weekend. It said it was entitled, what did you do last week? And then said, give us 5 bullet points. Don't send any classified information, but just give us 5 bullet points of what you did and have it to us by 11:59 p.m. Monday. So tonight, many federal agencies, the heads of these federal agencies have said, no, don't respond to that email. We'll deal with what we need to deal with internally, which I'd imagine for those who work for the FBI, the Pentagon, the State Department, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Energy, probably was a sigh of relief because they're thinking, well, okay, now what? Because we've seen these waves of firings over the last couple of weeks, and they've been painful for a lot of families. I want to listen to more in depth of what Senator John Curtis had to say about this with Margaret Brennan, the host of CBS's Face the Nation. He was on the show yesterday.
if I could say one thing to Elon Musk, it's like, please put a dose of compassion in this. These are real people. These are real lives. These are mortgages. It's a false narrative to say we have to cut and you have to be cruel to do it as well. We can do both.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not just about efficiency, though. I mean, the president himself has characterized this as getting rid of bad people.
I regret that narrative. We all know, thousands, millions of federal workers who are good people, who work hard. But the reality of it is we have 3 million federal workers. Not all of them do. Many aren't coming to work. In my business...
Working from home, you mean?
Working from home. Let's hope they're working from home. We don't know. That's why the email. What are you doing? It's not unusual in a corporate setting to have people report and explain what they're doing, especially if they're working from home. So I don't think this is a request that is that difficult. I would ask my employees to let me know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But I will double down on the fact of we don't need to be so cold and hard, and let's put a little compassion and, quite frankly, dignity in this as well.
We're taking your phone calls, 801-575-TALK. How do you feel about the firings in general? Do you like the rip-off-the-Band-Aid approach? Or do you need to sit down and have a face-to-face with your boss and have them show some compassion and feel bad and show you that they feel bad about letting you go? Let's start off with Linda in Draper. What do you think, Linda?
I think the way they're going about it is ridiculous. I have seen many stories of longtime federal employees who are just being sent emails saying that their performance was subpar. And these are people who have had glowing performance reviews from their actual supervisors. So to say that your approach, ripping the Band-Aid off or being compassionate in a normal work setting, may be a choice, but this is not a normal situation. And these people are just being railroaded, and it's ridiculous. Lives are being disrupted. As many layoffs happening, it is going to have an effect on the economy, and I don't think that was thought through.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's no question this is going to affect the economy. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow. I also don't think this is a surprise. President Trump ran on this. He was very clear that he was going to put Elon Musk in charge, and there were going to be massive cuts. And to say that we're surprised at this point, I can't say I'm surprised. I absolutely think this was told beforehand, and folks elected him anyway.
Hi, Nathan. I really wanted to get to your call because I saw from our producer, she put a note in here that your niece is dealing with this right now, working for the Forest Service. Walk us through what she's going through, Nathan.
Hi, Deb. Hi, Dave. Yeah, my niece works for the Forest Service, and she's in Montana. But she has had to deal with this with every presidential change, going way back to Bush 1. And every 4 years there is a reevaluation, or I should say every presidential change there is an evaluation. And almost every 4 years she'll get laid off and then either brought back on, or she is picked up by she's very good at what she does with reforestation, and she'll get picked up with a company and a consulting firm that is hired by the government. This kind of goes back and forth. It drives her parents crazy. And she's at the point now, she was very matter of fact. I never knew this was what she was going through until this year.
Oh. Well, thanks for sharing that perspective with us. I appreciate it. Craig from Ogden, want to get another call in here.
I just would be a little concerned about having to justify my ability to contribute with 5 bullet points one time to somebody who doesn't know my work. It does not seem like a fair evaluation of effort.
I just want to run with that for a moment because having formerly worked for the FBI for 4 years as their spokesperson of the 3-state region, which was 330,000 square miles of territory that I had to respond to the media about calls that, I would get on cases. If I was responding to this email, I don't think I would respond to this email. I would probably say I took dozens, if not hundreds, of media calls during the week when our stories went, or when our cases went international. I was slammed with tons of media calls, up all hours, day and night, because everybody's in a different time zone depending on what media organization you're working for. And if we had a kidnapping, for example, where time was of the essence, right? I couldn't sleep through that. I had a responsibility to get the information out for the families, for the victims, and for the public who pays the FBI, right? We're taxpayers pay the FBI to do a job. I remember on a holiday weekend, I had a day off, and I got called in because there was an Amber Alert. A child had been kidnapped from one of the states that we were investigating. So I had to make sure all the processes were in place to get the child's photograph and the suspect's photographs on billboards across the western United States and put out press releases. So I'm with you. I don't know if somebody sitting back at whatever email address that was that federal employees are supposed to reply to would understand the value in what I was doing during that week. But
they did say include your manager, right? They weren't just saying, hey, communicate with me. They're saying CC your manager, your HR's, you're going to have to figure it out, right? And if you can't justify, you would have had a very easy way to justify your 5 bullet points.
But
right?
According to many of these department heads, they said, pause that. You don't need to respond to that email. At least not yet.
When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing selection, convenience, and exceptional service. With 3 locations, Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, and Performance Toyota, Performance Automotive is here to serve your needs. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, where excellence comes standard. Start your search at performancebountiful.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and it's time to start thinking about the great events that are just around the corner in March. And as you consider the opportunities for entertainment, for ball games, for celebration, I want you to remember Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, where you are going to find the best steak you have ever had. But it's not just about steaks. It's about poultry and seafood and the side dishes and the desserts. They're all waiting for you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. The perfect time to put together a killer St. Patrick's party? Right, it's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And of course, with all of the March madness, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, when you're enjoying the games, it's time for you to make your reservations or pick up a gift card. And remember, always save room for dessert. Oh, and by the way, maybe you're going to be up skiing. Well, Hotel Park City. There's a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse waiting there for you. And, of course, downtown Salt Lake City at 275 Southwest Temple, it's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. In October of 1985, a woman named Cherie Warren left work at a busy Salt Lake City office
to meet her estranged husband at a downtown auto dealership.
She never made it home. Cherie's car surfaced weeks later in Las Vegas.
In the parking lot of a hotel casino.
No one knows how it got there.
Strange. It was strange.
Both Cherie's estranged husband and her boyfriend raised suspicion for investigators.
I kind of thought that he might have done something.
But no arrests were ever made. In Cold Season 3, we dig into double lives, make new connections in the case, and examine the difficulty raised by reasonable doubt.
We want answers just as much as anyone else.
They have creeps like that now too, so nothing's changed.
That's the new Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie. Now available anywhere you get your podcasts.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Dave and Debbie.
It's impossible to digest and consume all of the news that's now coming at us through either social media or through web pages or through the radio. Pick what is most impactful in your life and focus on that. And that's what Dave and I do every single morning. We pick those issues that are most important to our listeners and we boil it down so it's digestible. It's simple to understand.
I think we're trying to find the essence of the story. You know, you can't be an expert on all things, but that doesn't mean you can't be curious and really find out more and educate yourself and learn the complexities of an issue. But I think all of us start at ground zero on everything. Ask questions, show that curiosity.
And then if you need more research, you can always go to KSLNewsRadio.com and learn more.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. A man from Connecticut died while skiing at Solitude Mountain Resort over the weekend. Unified Police tell us 53-year-old Daniel Negrelli was found on the middle slope, which is a Black Diamond run. Emergency responders say it appears he crashed into a tree. A Mountain West Conference school is now being investigated after some of its men's basketball players were accused of making bets on their own games. Fresno State has since suspended 2 of their basketball players, and investigators say the 2 were making prop bets, such as how many points they would score or how many rebounds they would get. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Apple confirmed this morning they plan to spend $500 billion in investments in the U.S. over the coming 4 years.
Until now, the massive servers that power Apple's artificial intelligence products have been built overseas. Now the company plans to shift that manufacturing to a 250,000 square foot factory to be opened in Houston next year. The company also plans to expand its footprint in 8 other states, including its home state of California.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting from Texas. Breaking news, Provo and Springville police have just confirmed that a body found inside a shed in a Provo backyard is that of a woman who went missing in January. Police say the victim is Lisa Hyde. Provo police arrested Arturo Carrion and booked him in jail. He's accused of her murder. Stay with KSL for updates throughout the day. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 180 points to 43,608. Coming up, it's extra warm this afternoon. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Sometimes when our furnace stops working, it's something simple we can fix ourselves, if we only knew how. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the next time your furnace stops working, before you call a company out to fix it, try this first. Go shut the furnace down and make sure your air filter is clean. Go around the house and make sure the vents are open and there's nothing blocking the return air. If it's been a while since you've changed the batteries in your thermostat, go ahead and do that too. Then go turn the furnace back on, and if it stays on, you're probably good. If it stops working again, you're probably going to want a technician to check it out. If you don't know one, Any Hour Services has a special offer for any homeowners listening. One of our HVAC technicians will diagnose and troubleshoot your furnace for only $29. Then they'll explain what they found and present you with repair options. And don't worry, our technicians service all brands. Call Any Hour Services and let them know you heard about this $29 troubleshooting special on the radio. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Let's check in at the KSL Traffic Center with Heather Kelly.
We've got a new crash up in the South Ogden area. This is on US 89 northbound, just after you pass Harrison Boulevard. It's right near 1475 East, and it is blocking the right lane and the right turn lane, so only one left lane is getting through that intersection. The good news is there's not a whole lot of traffic in that area, so it's not really causing a whole bunch of delay. In fact, you've got good speeds on I-15, the east and west side belt routes, and the 201 freeway throughout the Salt Lake Valley. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather now, 60 degrees today in Salt Lake City. Yeah, that's how high it can get. And it stays warm for most of the week without any storms in the near future. Right now it's sunshine and 49 degrees in Salt Lake City and Ogden, 51 degrees already in Provo. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Hey, Andy, can you hear us? I don't know if he can hear us. He's on the other side of the glass there. But this is a pitch from Andy Farnsworth this morning. I woke up to it, and he'd sent it to us, Dave, and he wanted us to talk about this. So let's talk about it. It's entitled Chatbot of the Dead. Chatbots of the Dead. And the premise of this article, which is on, is it aeon.co? aeon.co. And it's written by a couple of different, it looks like a couple of different people, but basically addressing using AI to simulate conversations with loved ones who've gone on to live in heaven.
That have died.
Yeah, who have passed away. Would you want that? And would you want that? Because I think I would. And I'm looking forward to talking about this because I think there are a lot of people out there who wish they could have one last conversation, one last conversation and get to know their loved ones who have moved on.
Okay, it's weird. Like, to be able to put my father passed away 20-something years ago. Mm-hmm. If I could take a recording of his voice, put it into AI, and then all of a sudden AI could generate an entire conversation with his voice, that's weird. Now, where I would see it being maybe a little less creepy, because that's kind of how I see it, I think it would be creepy to have AI have a conversation.
So let me just pause right there. You're not ready for that.
No.
And you don't know if you would ever be ready for it.
No, because I'm not having a conversation with him. Yeah. I'm having a conversation with AI, and it sounds like him. Like, that's weird. Where I think it could be cool is I have some old letters that my dad had written. And if I could take his voice and maybe have him read his own words, almost like he was just reading a letter to me, kind of like an audiobook style, that would be cool. That I would like. I don't think I could ever be ready with having a conversation or interacting back and forth with AI.
So according to this article, it could use either like letters, emails, journals from the person. So they could, I know your dad passed away before probably emails were being sent. I would, it's a little, I don't know, 20 years ago, it was pretty new. A lot of us were on our text messages. I mean, think about all of the videos now that are online.
Yeah.
That we post online. I think about my social media. There's a ton of videos that they could draw from. I don't write a whole lot of letters nowadays, but I do write a lot in birthday cards and Christmas cards and notes and stuff, and so they could use that. But think about that. I mean, a loved one has passed on, and just even a few years ago, maybe a decade ago, that was it. If you have anything left over from their memories, it's, like I think of old cassette tapes.
Yeah.
From, like with my grandparents. Nowadays, you would have these like videos and emails or voicemails that you could throw in. But you're saying you would not want to have a conversation with them like I do every morning with Alexa.
Right.
Like she literally says, "Good morning, Debbie. Would you like?"
How are you doing? I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yeah, how's your day going? And I sometimes feel compelled to respond because I don't want to be rude, but I also like, oh, this is a little odd. But what you would like is to hear your father's voice reading those letters.
Yeah.
You'd be okay with
that.
Yeah,
I miss hearing his voice, of course. Like, who wouldn't like to hear or watch old videos where we hear their voice? Like, we like that. I think when you start bringing the AI component to it, where it starts generating something else, like a different conversation or maybe an interactive back and forth, that would be hard on a number of levels. Number one, I think it would be creepy. Number two, I think it would be maybe more difficult to say goodbye or to maybe, I think maybe that would rip open some old wounds that had healed. If you felt like you were having that conversation. And yeah, this is This is where I think we need to be a little bit careful of how far we push the technology
With
and what we allow.
artificial intelligence?
Yeah. Because I don't want anybody to, if I upload this all in my, now all of a sudden my dad's voice, his picture, you've got deep fakes now that they're generating maybe a facsimile of him having a face-to-face conversation, and then somebody else starts talking to him. Like, you're not really talking to him.
That's one of the concerns raised in this article about chatbots for the dead. That's what Dave and I are talking about right now. Would you want your loved one's voice to be recreated by artificial intelligence so you can either have a conversation with them, or like in Dave's case, he'd said, if my dad could read me some of the letters, maybe his voice could read me some of the letters that he left. But that is one of the concerns, is the potential for commercial exploitation and manipulation. And the other concern is who owns this? Who owns it? So your dad wrote these letters, and they're obviously personal letters, most likely. Well, who owns that? Is that you? Is it his estate? Who owns that? And then once it's out there, so I guess where you lost me just a bit is you said, well, once I put it into an AI generator, well, then what happens to it? Does it just come back to you, or what are your thoughts on that? Does it go on the internet?
Is there exclusivity? Because that's not typically how artificial intelligence works, right? It doesn't say, oh, Dave, you asked a question, so I'm going to save this response just for you.
Oh.
It's learning, right? And it ends up in the collective artificial intelligence. So if you could maybe narrow it down to just family members, but then it gets weird, right? When you start talking about generations down the line. But at the same time, I have no idea what my great-grandfather sounds like. I have no idea what he looks like, and artificial intelligence might be able to bring me closer or get me more excited about genealogy. I see some benefits of it, but I also see some downside to it because, again, you're just making stuff up at some point.
Okay.
You're just pretending like this is a real person.
So what about the idea that, and I think you started down this path a few minutes ago, it opening up wounds or emotional scars, or it's just too much to bear. And some people have that, others don't.
Yeah.
It just depends. What about for you? How would that feel if that was your father's voice reading letters to you? I mean, you're not a big crier. I'm the crier on the show. I am. I mean, I think I cried twice last week. Sometimes it's during commercial breaks. Things just break my heart so easily, and I just when I start reflecting, and I miss the good old days, and I miss, so I can just lose it so quickly. Do you get concerned about that aspect of this?
Okay, there is a certain amount of nostalgia and cool factor. Like I would love to be able to take a few sentences that we have of my dad, of his voice, and to be able to hear it. The problem is if I start hearing him speak in a way that isn't authentic to him, like you would be able to tell, like, oh, that's not my dad. My dad wouldn't say it like that. Mm-hmm. And then it would just sound like an imposter. It would sound like an actor that was just pretending. And I think that would just be too weird and unsettling. I don't think I'd enjoy it.
Let's ask our listeners if they agree with you. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Dave's not that into using a chat bot to hear his deceased father's voice. I haven't lost a parent. Now I've lost grandparents I was close to. So for me, maybe it's kind of removed in a way that it isn't for you. Mm-hmm. So I would love to hear from one of my grandmothers again. I was really close to her. So for me, I would love that. I would love that interaction. But then again, maybe I'd break down in tears too. But would you want to use a chatbot to communicate with one of your loved ones who's passed away or not? No way. Maybe it's no way. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Let's take your live calls next.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and right now at Hale Center Theater, 2 magnificent plays are on both of the stages waiting for you. You've heard me talk about Little Women, the classic tale, the musical. The family is going to love that. And now, Dee and I went to the opening of The Prince of Egypt. I have to tell you, I've never seen that before, and it is spectacular. I want you to imagine a chariot race between the 2 brothers, Ramses and Moses, that happen while in the air above you at Hale Center Theater. That's just one of the highlights. And I have to tell you, while every performer is magnificent in the play, the Pharaoh, when the Pharaoh is on stage, he commands the theater. And how in the world do you present all of the plagues and miracles? Hale Center Theater does it beautifully. This is the time, too, to get your season tickets, especially if you want to see Frozen. All you have to do is go to hct.org.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Dave and Dujanovic.
How about some live phone calls? Would you want a chat bot of your deceased loved one? Maybe they're talking to you, you're having a conversation with them. Maybe they're just reading you an old letter that they wrote. We're talking about this because our very own Andy Farnsworth pitched this to us as a segment that he thought we should talk about on the show, and we agreed. But he found this on a website called Aeon. I think I'm saying that wrong. AEON.co. And it talks about chatbots of the dead, that there are artificial intelligence systems that can actually create conversations with deceased individuals. And we wondered how that would play out in your life. Is that something you want? Is that something you don't want? Dave said it would feel really odd for him if he was hearing from his father.
Yeah. My dad passed away about 23 years ago. And although I miss him desperately and miss his voice, miss his face, I think if artificial intelligence was to create a John Noriega that I could have a conversation with, that would be disturbing for me.
Really?
Like that would not be something I would enjoy. Maybe in part because I will never forget this article I read in the New York Times. It was written by their technology reporter, Kevin Roos. And he said, I had a conversation with Bing's chatbot, and it left me deeply unsettled. And he talked about how he started communicating, and he's like, I felt like I was actually communicating with this chatbot, asking me questions. And then it took a weird turn where the AI chatbot starts professing and telling him how much she was in love with him, how he needs to leave his wife, and that they were meant to be there together forever. And it took a really weird turn. And he's like, that was unsettling for me.
You think if you put your father's voice into AI or chatbot and they created either an image of him or recreated his voice, reading the letters, that are left behind, that somehow you would feel exploited? Or would you be worried that now the AI owns his voice, owns those letters? So does it cross a line that feels uncomfortable?
I wouldn't have a problem with taking his voice, putting it in an artificial intelligence, and then him reading the letters that he himself wrote. Where I think it crosses a line is where it just starts making up a conversation.
Oh, you're asking questions and they and he answers.
Hey, Dad, I just want to pick your brain. I was wondering, should I take this job? What do you think? Right? Just a conversation you'd have with your real father. I don't want AI having that conversation with me.
Okay.
That's feels manipulative, right? And almost dangerous in some ways.
It's like, yeah, take that job.
Yeah, take that job. That's a great job.
No, don't take that job. I mean, yeah, that's. Hi, Linda.
I would never do that. It is so unreal. I've had some really bad experiences with AI, and my mom died 2 years ago, and I wouldn't want them making up stuff that my mom never really said or did. You know, I just think it's horrible. I'm not happy with AI. I have a very dislike towards them.
Well, thanks, Linda. Yeah, I think there's a creepiness factor in. One of our textures says this. I think it has the potential to be very exploitative of grief. And I thought, boy, that is a real possibility, right? It could become exploitative. That if your loved one passes away and then this company comes in, hey, we're going to create a virtual loved one with their voice and their face, and there's a subscription and you can have conversations. You know, in the middle of grief, I could totally see it being exploitative.
You don't see this at the family reunion, though. That would feel really weird. I think somebody on.
Can you imagine?
Somebody.
Oh, if you arrive at the family, let's hear some quick words from Uncle John. Uncle John's hasn't been around for 23 years, but let's hear from Uncle John.
You know, there's somebody.
What did you do?
Somebody in the family who actually had their heart in the right place and thought that was a good idea.
Totally. Like, oh, they'll love it. Well,
there's some 3D image.
Oh, man.
You know that would happen.
Yeah.
801-575-TALK. We're taking your live calls right now. Would you want to, have a conversation with your deceased loved one if a chatbot could make that happen for you? Dave and I, looking at this article that Andy Farnsworth actually pitched to us earlier this morning on a website, and thanks to one of our texters, he's like, it's just Eon. Just say Eon, Deb. Okay, it's Eon is the website we got it off of. And what they're doing is they're combining letters and emails and maybe videos that your loved one posted online or sent, and throwing it into a chatbot, and it's able to basically recreate your loved one. And we're wondering, is this something that you would want? Like your voice, their voice cloned, their image cloned, and they're talking to you. Maybe maybe they're reading you the letters. Maybe they're having a conversation with you. You're able to ask that question. Hey, Dad, should I take this job? And he's like, no, son, it's not the right job for you. But you're right. How would he know?
This is a computer. And let me go back again to this weird interaction that the New York Times reporter had when he was having a conversation with a chatbot, an artificial intelligence chatbot. This is what he says. At one point, it declared out of nowhere that it loved me. And then it tried to convince me that I was in an unhappy marriage and that I should leave my wife and be with it instead. We don't know what the AI is going to do or what it's going to say. It could do some really weird things. And that is the very thing that happened to this person. So I don't know. I wouldn't trust it. It feels weird. It feels creepy. The more I think about it, the less I like it. This is just getting creepier and creepier.
At first it was just like he could read the letters to me, and now it's like, forget it. Nothing.
I don't know.
So one of the concerns that's noted here is the risk of users confusing chatbots with the actual deceased individuals. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Usually I realize people they're still gone. How about this? This listener texted us at 57500 saying, it would be interesting for family history. For example, if my great-great-great-grandchildren could hear my stories and my voice and ask me questions about my life. Well, you could also just, since obviously you're texting us, you're still here, you could also just create videos, right? You could just create a video now to pass on a thumb drive down to your great-great-great-grandkids.
That's the key. For artificial intelligence to be accurate, it has to pull from a huge library of information. So to say, hey, can you speak in the voice of my dad? It just doesn't have enough information. So it's just making up everything as it goes along. It would be super weird. Jake and Magna, we got 30 seconds, but I got to get you on. What do you think, Jake?
I love getting another 30 seconds. Thank you. AI, actually, I'm a big supporter of it. One of the things that I actually appreciated its use for is when we were celebrating my grandmother's 80th birthday. Trying to summarize her story is pretty hard when you have so many siblings, but we have AI that can digest her journals and all of her documentation. She loves sending stuff out to the kids, papers, just things on the family. And we were able to do a big summary for this big birthday we celebrated with a huge family, and AI brought her story in a simple light. It's not listening to her, and she's still alive, thankfully, but there's a beauty in AI in summarizing and educating us about our ancestors.
I totally see that.
Yeah, thank you.
I just don't know if I can have Nana looking at me through the computer and just stealing her voice and then going through that summary 7 years ago. I don't know. It's creepy. I don't need to see AI Nana.
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son.
On September 12, 1995, McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas.
There was no sign of forced entry. It was just as if McKay had walked out of his own free will.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, feels that justice was never truly served. Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Exciting news. We've been telling you about it for a while now, but Master Electrical Service, they've joined Mountain Home Services.
And this is great for you because that means you can get your electrical needs fixed, EV chargers installed. You need a new generator. They're your go-to. Need new recessed lighting. Perfect. Call them. And also, there's a lot more on that list of things that they can do.
Yeah, Mountain Home Services installed my furnace years ago. They did a wonderful job. So Mountain Home Services takes care of your heating and air, your plumbing. So this is one-stop shopping. Your electrical, your heating and air, plumbing, all of that, all with one company.
And Dave, don't forget fireplaces.
Oh, I forgot about the fireplaces. Yes, it's because it's a beautiful day outside. I'm not thinking about fireplaces. When it's snowing, it's all I'm thinking about.
Hey, it comes with that upfront pricing guarantee that you and I have been talking about. And that means that they come out, they look at the job, they give you a quote, and that upfront pricing guarantee means that the price they quote you up front is the price you pay when the job is done.
Check them out. MountainHomeservices.com is the website, mountainhomeservices.com.
Or you can give them a call at 801-543-2222. Again, 801-543-2222.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Les Olson IT now provides building security solutions. Do you need physical access control for your facilities? Are you looking for video surveillance systems accessible in the palm of your hand? Les Olson IT has what you need, and their low-voltage network cabling specialists will install it and make sure it's working the way it should. Learn more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
How does a soccer club, born in an unlikely place,
Utah? You sure you want to do that in Utah?
built with players no one else wanted,
We knew no one believed in us.
reach the league's highest heights?
We finally did it. It was like just this feeling of getting to the top of the mountain.
How does that same team find a way to shatter expectations in the midst of a fight for its own survival?
Our club is burning to the ground as we speak.
I'm Amy Donaldson, and in a new podcast, Making of a Moment, the RSL story, we take a closer look at one of those iconic sports moments
Soccer is a crazy game, and we saw it firsthand tonight.
and unravel how knowing the truth of these moments can transform what they mean.
I just kind of got chills right now thinking about it.
Making of a Moment, the RSL story, is available now. Follow us at makingamomentpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Britt Johnson. KSL's top story this hour, federal workers in Moab are unsure of where they will go or what they will do after the recent government firings. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
The United States Forest Service has fired their local probationary employees. This includes seasonal workers. Molly Harrison worked for 8 years as a seasonal worker to gain her probationary status. This would have been her second year as a permanent seasonal worker for the Forest Service in Moab. She tells the Times Independent now in her mid-30s she will have to consider an entirely different career path and is also thinking of moving out of the Moab area. The rest of her crew was also let go. They would have been maintaining trails in the Moab Forest Service area. Other duties of seasonal workers include fighting fires, staffing visitor centers, and cleaning bathrooms. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Elon Musk's weekend email to thousands of federal employees ordering them to list their accomplishments or risk losing their jobs has many scratching their heads as they search for guidance on how to respond.
There's a lot of confusion in Washington and across the country for the millions of federal workers who got that email over the weekend. And if they aren't following Elon Musk on social media, may not even realize that there is an ultimatum potentially on the table, because he has only put that in his social media post about if you don't respond to this email, you could potentially be fired.
ABC News Washington correspondent Karen Travers reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow has gained 196 points. The S&P is up 8 points, but the NASDAQ is off 55 points. Coming up, it'll feel like spring today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. Next time somebody says, "I'm absolutely sure," watch what happens. The speaker just claimed all of the right in the room. You can agree or disagree, but you can't modify or clarify. The late Senator Frank Church of Idaho once told me that you will always gain more support if you allow others the privilege of amending your truth. In other words, don't announce truth, build truth together. I'm sure that will work better. At least pretty sure of it. Learn more about persuasive leadership with an MBA from Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com for more information. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-292-7788. 800-292-7788.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Here's Heather Kelly.
We're looking pretty good all across the Wasatch Front. An earlier crash we had on US 89 near Harrison Boulevard has cleared. Never did really have any delays anyway. You've got good speeds coming out of Tooele County on SR 36 and I-80, as well as on I-80 through Parley's Canyon going to and from Park City. The Murdoch Auto team is celebrating 100 years of winter journeys at Murdoch Chevrolet. Right now, take up to $6,250 off a new 2024 Equinox. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Spring is in the air, sunny skies, and a high of 60 degrees today. Now, temperatures will cool a bit for the next couple of days after today, but they'll rebound back up for the weekend. Right now, it's 54 degrees and sunny. I'm Britt Johnson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
Well, there's a couple of angles with this developing story that dropped this morning regarding Apple building AI servers in Houston, spending $500 billion in the U.S. over the next few years to create 20,000 jobs. The first is, when I woke up this morning and saw that, Dave, I thought, is this a win for President Trump's tariffs? For his, his push to implement more tariffs.
You mean his favorite word in the history of the world? The most beautiful world, more beautiful than the word love.
Tim Cook in the office from Apple, he's investing hundreds of billions of dollars too. We're going to have a lot of chip makers coming in, a lot of automakers coming in.
So made in America. That was the second angle I thought of is this as we bring more products back to America, if that's in case indeed the win here for President Trump with tariffs, will it mean we're willing to buy in America if it means the price is the same or more expensive because we pay fair labor wages here?
Yeah, and that's a problem. It's a problem we don't want to address very easily, which is a lot of the places where we get our super cheap stuff, they're not using fair labor practices. They are unfairly using labor that we have prohibited. There's a lot of child labor that's going around in the world that's been very well documented. We've seen the cobalt mining in Africa, horrible conditions, using children, but we need our electric vehicles, so we'll look a little bit past this and where it's sourced from. We don't do a good job of knowing because, in part, it's almost impossible to figure out where is this stuff coming from?
So let's start here. Is this a win for President Trump as he, threatens tariffs against other countries? And then let's bridge this into made in America. Do you even know what products are made in America? I mean, have you looked through your wardrobe lately in your closet and have you figured out how much stuff you've bought from overseas because it's fast fashion, it's cheap, versus how many pairs of Levi jeans you've bought because they're made in America? We'll get into that. Let's set that aside for now. But do you see this as a win, at least initially, for the President Trump's tariff plan?
Definitely. I mean, you're looking at $500 billion of investment from Apple. They're going to create this huge AI network of servers, $500 billion that is going to be kept here and spent here in America. It's going to create 20,000 jobs, they say. It's going to be built in Texas in just a few years. That is a huge win, and it's not the only win that President Trump has when it comes to tariffs. In his first stint as president, Ford was looking at building some car manufacturing in Mexico. And Trump comes in and says, if you do that, I'm going to slap you with an enormous tariff. And what did Ford do? They scrapped their plans to build the manufacturing in Mexico, and they built it here in America. So, yeah, the tariffs have forced businesses to stay home instead of outsourcing everything.
Well, I look at this as a possible win. I think it's too soon to tell. And this is the commitment right now, $500 billion in the United States over the next 4 years. As you said, creating 20,000 new jobs. This is the New York Times. It came across as an alert this morning that Apple was leaning into this. And so that means, maybe your iPhones will be built here. I don't know ultimately what it means. Maybe your AirPods, maybe your iPads. It does look like there's going to be some sort of AI server manufacturing facility in Houston, and that is scheduled to open in 2026. I think where I will give him a win is this is happening fast, so it'll be during his administration, and he has said that it's indicated that this is in relation to his to the tariff plan. But what I don't know yet is how is this going to play out with our own budgets? I don't know if an iPhone's already expensive. I think you looked it up the other day when we were on the air. It was like $1,600 for the top of the line iPhone. However, I'm ashamed to even say that, but I think that's how we think. It's like we're always looking for the best deal. We've just trained ourselves to look for the best deal instead of looking at the label. Was it made in America? I think we love to say it's made in America, but look, I've heard this argument, made in America, we need to bring it back, for decades. For decades. And the reality of it is we're all shopping online from overseas apps so we can get the $5 shirt because we don't want to spend $20 or $25 on that same T-shirt because it's made in America.
And while we celebrate this $500 billion that is going to be spent here in America, that's $500 billion. If they could spend $500 billion in America, but they could do it for $100 billion in, say, Mexico, then you've got to make up that difference. That $400 billion has got to be made up. I'm just throwing out random numbers here, guys. I'm just saying, if you could build it elsewhere for far cheaper, then where are you going to make up that money? Well, it's got to come from Americans, right? You're building in America, then you're going to get it from Americans, so you're going to have to make up the difference. Now, if it's apples to apples, if it costs $500 billion in America and $500 billion in Mexico, then awesome. Then it's a huge win. The math works, but that's not how the math works. The reason companies have outsourced so much from IT to manufacturing of computer chips, iPhones, shirts, skirts, it's because it's far cheaper.
I'm going to put us to the test. I'm going to put our listeners to the test. 801-575-TALK. What's that one item that you bought that you know for sure is made in America? It's made in America. And if we don't get any calls at all, I'll know. I'll know there's a reason because you don't know. You don't know what you bought, what you have. What is actually made in America that's hanging in your closet, that's sitting inside the cabinet in your kitchen. I've got a list here. We'll go over the list in just a moment, but I do want to take calls at 801-575-TALK. What's that one item you absolutely know is made in America? And as I said just a few minutes ago, I know this has been an argument for decades. Made in America. How do I know that? Because I remember the TV commercials and all of the news stories from back in the day. I mean, here's one from the 90s.
We're losing our shirts in this country, and our dresses too. In fact, we're in danger of losing the U.S. clothing and home fashions industry because we're buying so many imports. Buy American, and we won't have to throw in the towel.
Okay, I can speak to this. There's a local Utah company, very popular dress manufacturer. Started here in Utah, employs a bunch of Utahns, but all of their dresses are made overseas. And I asked them, why do you do them overseas? Can't you manufacture them here? And he said, it's not even a dollar and cents thing. The fact is, this commercial that you just played ended up being so true. All of the major manufacturers are over in Asia. The infrastructure, he said, we have nothing that compares. They can churn out the amount of clothes and dresses and designs. We just don't have anything that could possibly compare here in America. The infrastructure, the manufacturing, the factories out there are far superior to anything we have here. So we have to go, put our designs, give them overseas, and then they make them, they create them, and they ship them back to us.
So it sounds like there needs to be a $500 billion investment for, dressmakers.
Yeah.
So they could take it to a factory in America and have it produced there instead of shipping it overseas. 801-575-TALK. We're taking your live calls. I've got a list of products that are made in America. Some of them I was thrilled that I accidentally bought. But honestly, I didn't go into the purchase thinking, oh, I'm buying this because it's made in America. We'll take your live calls, 801-575-TALK. What's that one thing you know for sure that's sitting inside your home, whether it's in the kitchen cabinet, it's in your garage, it's in your closet, that is made in America?
I can't think of anything that I know of that is made in America. Let's start off. Brian, do you have anything from Far West? Anything that you purchased that was made in America?
Yes, I do. That American flag that's sitting, waiting to be put up on the next holiday.
Are you sure it was made in America? The irony of it being made somewhere else would be hilarious.
Dave, it says made in America right there, the good USA.
All right. All right. Because that's true. We can think products are made in America because of what the product is, but sometimes it's manufactured overseas.
And what's funny is I remember reading an article about what qualifies as made in America, and it's a percentage, like a percentage of the materials that are used, and perhaps the materials can be from America, but it's put together somewhere else. It is like they're doing everything they can to be able to put that label made in America on, even though like the majority of it or the vast majority is made elsewhere.
I'm going to get to my list in just a minute of products that are made in America, still made in America. Jake, good morning.
Jake, the co-host of the David Dujanovic Show. I love this.
So sorry.
No, don't be sorry, Jake. We
I love
talking to you, not bugging us. We love it that you listen all the time.
Yeah. So the item I wanted to talk about is actually something that I think is one of the most common electric vehicles out there, and that's Teslas. They're made in California, Nevada, and Texas. And I think that there's something to be said here because you guys were talking about buying things that are affordable. One of the genius things about Teslas, being that they're made in America, is that if you have to replace a full battery in a Tesla vehicle, it is on average about $18,000. But if you get a car that's a Hyundai from out of country, it's $50,000 to replace that battery. So we have an American vehicle that is electric that is actually more cheaper to get here than to have to buy from elsewhere.
I didn't know that. Thanks, Jake.
And that's going to have to be the key, right? We're going to have to be competitive. We can't just say, hey, I will pay a premium so that it's made in America. Ultimately, we're going to have to look at it and say, I've got to figure out, is it well built? Is it better? Am I going to pay a premium? There's a lot of questions we need to ask. We can't just blanket say, you know what, I'm going to buy American. If we would have done that, then we'd still be driving the 13-mile-a-gallon Dodge Charger, right? And we'd never see the Honda Civic and get your 37 miles to the gallon.
So I just looked it up online. Just as like $50,000. I'm seeing a replacement battery on a Hyundai electric vehicle between, and this is HyundaiMaintenance.com is the website I'm looking at. Average cost typically ranges from $6,000 to $8,000. Still a lot of money. 801-575-TALK, taking your live calls. What's that one item that you know for sure is made in America? Hi, Phil.
Hi there.
What's that item?
Hey, I have a fur coat hanging in my closet, and I know for sure it's bought in America because I bought it at Wolf's on State Street.
Oh, I remember Wolf's.
Sure, about 55, 60 years ago.
Have you taken it to the Antique Roadshow to have it
I think it's probably
appraised?
I haven't. I don't think it's real fur. I'm pretty 98% sure it's not real, but it's made by
America.
Robert Lewis.
Oh,
So,
wow. Way to hold on to that. Thanks so much for your call, Phil. Hi, Heidi. What do you have that's made in America?
Well, I actually have a lot of things that are made in America. I used to be a manufacturer's rep for some equipment made here in Salt Lake City.
Oh.
For 15 years. We shipped all over the United States. I'm now in my industry. I represent a lot of different companies all over the U.S., and a lot of the equipment is brought in from overseas. But I'll tell you, the equipment brought in from overseas, they pay a lot less to manufacture it, but by the time it gets here, you pay the exact amount that you would have if it had been made here in the U.S. So it's not so much that there's a huge gap. They're making a lot more money off of the stuff that's brought in overseas because labor costs are so much lower in the overseas ones. And that's hard for me. I took a lot of pride in the fact that I created jobs for people here in Utah, good quality, high-paying jobs, and that company has gone now with so many other manufacturing companies. And I think there's a lot of danger in losing our manufacturing sectors.
Yeah.
And we have lost a lot of manufacturing in America, and we've seen that. It's because other countries have invested heavily in manufacturing, whether it's the workforce itself or it's the infrastructure and the technology.
Here's a list I found in Reader's Digest of things that are made in America. Maybe some are hanging in your closet. Levi's 501 jeans, made in America since the 1800s. Karen Kane clothing, ladies. If you've shopped at Dillard's lately, maybe you've seen some of that line. Comes out of Los Angeles since the late 1970s. New Balance, their Made in the USA series is produced here domestically. Merle Norman Cosmetics. Honestly, I haven't seen or heard from Merle Norman in a long time. There it was this morning in the Reader's Digest story I was reading. They've been developing and making cosmetics since the late 1920s. Also, home appliances. This article says Whirlpool refrigerators. Over 80% of Whirlpool, never been able to say that, Whirlpool products made in the USA, primarily in the Midwest. How about Huggies disposable diapers?
There you go. Huggies, made in America.
Yeah. They've been produced domestically. So, yeah, Huggies.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Dave in Provo. Is made in America important to you, Dave?
Sure, you bet.
Will you pay a premium for it?
Sure, you bet I will.
What's that one item you've got, Dave, that you can prove is made in America?
My Colt handguns are made in Connecticut, and a few of my Browning guns are made in America, but I'd have to look at them to see which ones.
Which ones, yeah. Wow, thanks. Thanks for your call. Hi, Doug. How's Ogden today?
Hi. Good.
What's made in America in your wardrobe or in your kitchen cabinets?
Well, actually, it's in my garage right now in my kayak.
Your kayak?
My kayak is made in Clearfield. Lifetime.
Lifetime, yeah, of course.
Yeah. All those kayaks are made right here in Utah, and a lot of basketball hoops, too.
That is true.
And coolers, right? They make some coolers?
Correct, yeah, the coolers.
Okay.
And one other thing that's American in my house is all of my windows are Pella, and they're made right in Pella, Iowa.
Oh, wow. Did not know that. Do you have a Lodge cast iron skillet on your kitchen stove? Because that's made in America.
No, I don't.
Well, I bet you will by 5 o'clock today by close of business. Thanks for your call, Doug. Appreciate it. Let's get over to Mike in Orem. Wow, the phone line's really lighting up on this one. What do you own that's made in America, Mike?
John Deere riding mower.
John Deere. What's more American than John Deere?
Made in Illinois.
Made in Illinois. Did you buy that with intention, knowing that you wanted a made in America John Deere?
Yes, I
obviously?
did.
Okay.
I did.
All right. Well, I think it can be a selling point. My KitchenAid stand mixer, made in America. Did not know that when I asked for it for Christmas back in the 90s. That thing's been going 30 years. It just went through a deep cleaning last summer. I thought, well, do I want to keep it? Yeah, I want to keep it. I don't want to spend another $300 on one of these.
Can I do a little John Deere trivia?
Please.
Jerry Sloan, Hall of Fame jazz coach,
sure.
owned more than 70 John Deere tractors.
He
was a
did?
collector. Yeah, he loved old tractors.
I did not know that.
And he collected them. Yeah, had over 70 John Deere tractors.
They're green, right?
Yep.
Green and yellow? They have a
Green
little
and
yellow
yellow.
on 'em?
Got to be green and yellow.
Pyrex?
Pyrex is American?
Uh-huh. Igloo coolers. Making coolers in Katy, Texas since 1947. I think made in America is important. I mean, like we said, we've been talking about this for decades.
Well, it's time to buy where the label says Made in America. Buy a Ford, buy a Chrysler, buy a GM vehicle, but buy American. I'm Tom Gill of Tom Gill Chevrolet in Florence. Remember, nobody beats an American. God bless America.
But the question is, do we do it?
Do we do it? I'll tell you this. I look at the price. I look at the reviews. I do not look at the label.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
Fall in love with your home comfort this season and save money too. A $29 heating system tune-up from Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric is the best way to ensure your HVAC system is operating at top efficiency. Boost your comfort and help prevent expensive breakdowns by calling the experts at Yes today for your $29 heating system tune-up. Trust the pros at Yes to keep your family comfortable. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy. It got so bad, I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't concentrate. I absolutely refused to let any of my friends come to our house for any reason. I would have been humiliated if anyone found out how much my dad drank and how loud my mom screamed at him. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful. The only thing that happened is my mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. Her relationship with my dad really changed. I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I wanted to see if I could have a better relationship with my dad. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Hi, Grandma. Can Nina come over for dinner?
Sure. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
If anyone ever does, I want you to say, no, I have too much respect for my family and I don't want to get in trouble.
I promise, Grandma.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. The Granite School District is now issuing $5 truancy fees for kids skipping class. This comes after the number of students skipping class drastically increased since absences are no longer reported by police to the courts. Granite School District spokesman Ben Horsley told David Dujanovic, kids found on school property during class time will have their names immediately emailed to their teachers.
If you don't show up within a reasonable amount of time, usually within 10-15 minutes of that time, then you're charged a truancy fee.
Horsley says the district doesn't want the $5 fee. They want kids in class, but they feel this is the only way to reduce absenteeism. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Starbucks is preparing for a large round of layoffs.
As the new CEO at Starbucks works to streamline operations, the company is getting ready to lay off over 1,000 corporate employees, according to an internal letter sent out. Notices will go to those impacted by midday Tuesday. The company saying it wants to run more efficiently and increase accountability. Starbucks has around 16,000 corporate employees. The layoffs will not impact roasting and warehouse staff or baristas in stores. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 222 points. The S&P is up 14. And coming up, a high of 60 today. KSL Weather's next KSL News Time, 11:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb. Expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer, $149 or less. And soon, one expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Here's Ricky Meese.
Good speeds on all the main flows of the Valley freeways, but crews are still in the final cleanup stages of an accident at the ramp, that collector ramp, northbound I-15 to go to 7200 South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy skies today with a forecasted high of 60 degrees. After that, we see highs stick to the upper 40s and lower 50s as we head into the weekend. Right now it is 53 and partly cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, BYU basketball beat the University of Arizona, the Wildcats, and then now U of A officials apologizing for offensive chants that were lodged at our BYU Cougars, and we're going to talk about it.
This is not something that is new. I have gone to a million BYU games, basketball, football, and this is a pretty common chant. Blank, the Mormons is usually where it goes. And this has been a frustration for a long time, obviously, because it seems like the response from the schools is like a copy and paste email. That's what it feels like, is when the fans get rowdy and they start chanting this terrible chant, and then the next day the university comes out and they're like, yeah, this doesn't represent who we are. We condemn this, and it's about that intense. There's no other punishment other than just a sharply worded email to nobody.
KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper on the line with us right now. Good morning, Mitch.
Good morning. Happy to be on.
To Dave's point, where does the NCAA play into this, if at all?
They don't play into it at all, honestly. They are a powerless entity anymore, and they're always looking to avoid any power because they'll just get sued over something. They have no power. I think what's interesting in this situation with BYU and Arizona is that's the first time since BYU joined the Big 12 that this is publicly, there's been a publicly apology from a conference school. And, I think what the Big 12, could possibly do, if they were to explore anything, you wonder if to set a precedent to find the school, because really outside of that, I mean, and what's the precedent for that? Do they, have to be a certain number of people that are chanting that? Because these chants became very loud after the game. After it was concluded, it was a close game, and emotions were high. But those chants became center news because of that what happened there. So I think that's where you focus more of the attention is what does the Big 12 do, if anything, on this, because the NCAA doesn't seem to get involved at all.
Mitch, back in November, I want to play a little audio clip. This is from BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff, and he had joined former BYU basketball player Eric Mika on his podcast, and he was talking about these chants because, again, it wasn't just the BYU Arizona. It happened in Providence in the tournament. It happened at the University of Oregon as well. This has happened multiple times. This is not like an isolated incident, but this is what BYU's, and I think it's interesting. Jake Retzlaff is Jewish. He's very proud of his Judaism, and he has just been so shocked at the acceptance of these kind of chants. So let me play this little audio clip from Jake Retzlaff on the Mika podcast.
You get the FBYU chant, F the Mormons chant.
Yeah.
That one is prominent around the country, which is bizarre to me because like you take any other religion, even my religion, like could you imagine the uproar if that happened?
Right.
Like in the media, that'd be nuts. But BYU does a good job of handling it, man.
Let's start an uproar right now.
We should. Like honestly, like it's
it
crazy.
is crazy.
Like how imagine SMU, those fans were saying F the Jews. Like,
right.
Imagine what would have happened after that. But they're saying F the Mormons and people think it's okay. That's one of the craziest experiences I've had here.
Mitch, this is something that it's kind of interesting to hear that maybe BYU's not just being overly sensitive. As an outsider, even Jake Retzlaff looks at it and says, this is so wrong on so many levels.
No question. And I think one of the issues with this is that kind of the headlines are saying that the chants, the offense, derogatory chants are geared towards BYU. It's a religion, and because I think no one's gonna bat an eye, honestly, about bleat BYU chants. They've heard that. I mean, I heard that at Wyoming. I heard that even at the Huntsman Center in the basketball game in January. That's no one's batting an eye over that. But when you're sending derogatory messages towards an entire religion, then it becomes a bigger story, and there's a conversation to be had about how do you act about this. And so that's where I think there's a real issue, and I think it fires up BYU faithful and members of the church, because at what point does this end? I mean, since I've been at KSL in 2019, like you guys noted coming in, I mean, it's just been over and over. USC, Oregon, Stanford had a halftime performance insulting the church. Providence basketball out on the East Coast brought it up, and that was a game where Providence won by 20 plus points, but they still, nonstop throughout that game were chanting that. So it's just become kind of commonplace. We're on this beat seeing that very often, and it's point. When does it end? And I think no one really seems to have an answer.
Well, it needs to end, and it should never be commonplace. There is no place for that. So what I'm wondering if the leagues aren't going to do anything about it, or don't traditionally do anything about it, Mitch, can the schools do something about the students who are involved in making those types of derogatory statements or chants toward BYU or any team?
Yeah, and I think that's where where you place maybe a ban, similar to what we saw years ago with Utah Jazz. The NBA has been very vocal about individuals who sit close to the court. If they have any hate speech or derogatory comments or racist, commentary, they could be facing a lifetime ban potentially. Do you have to go to those measures and that to kind of set that precedent, and that if you say these type of chants, you're going to lose your chance to go to a sporting event? Maybe that has to be the case here to end that, because, and I think you've seen improvements in the NBA in recent years. There's even messaging on the NBA chairs, near courtside, notifying people that sitting in that chair, you could, have that sort of thing happen. So I think there's got to be more common conversation about that, and finding a way to really just end this and have it, because I don't think anyone again is going to be upset over, chants that are towards the team, or even, getting after players, but just resorting to a speech over, derogatory towards religion. There's just no place for that, and that's got to end. And that's where I think these schools and having it be a conference matchup, maybe there's more lines of communication between BYU and Arizona to maybe get creative and find a ways within the Big 12 to end that.
Hey, since you're our BYU insider, Mitch, I wanted to say congrats to BYU. I mean, that was a great game, and it looks like where did they land on the polls this week? Just real quick before we let you go.
Number 25 in the AP Top 25. So first time this season that the Cougars are in the poll.
Nice.
Out of the bubble now?
I think so. They should be a lock now. As long as they take care of business at home, they've got 4 games remaining, 2 of which in Provo. If they win those games, they're going to be comfortably in the tournament. It just then becomes a question of what seed did they get, because placing BYU in that bracket's always tricky with the no Sunday aspect. So that's where the conversation then goes to with BYU, but they should be a lock in the field.
All right, Mitch. Thanks. We appreciate it. BYU insider Mitch Harper.
What do you think about dealing with the students directly, Dave?
Yeah, that's what you have to do, right? You have to crack down on it when it happens. What does no good is exactly what the Arizona Athletic Department did, which is they posted on X, our apologies. The chant is not reflective of who we are and should not have happened. Right? That means nothing. Right? When it happens, when you hear it happening, you've got everybody listening to this. You've got coaches, you've got players, you've got administration, you've got ushers. Let's not pretend like this was just one person. You could hear it bleeding over onto the microphones on TV. You could hear them chanting this. So it wasn't just 1 or 2 people being inappropriate. You had a number of people chanting, and they do nothing about it.
Well, and you have precedent, too. I will say, right? You have a precedent that has happened, because that coming into this game, BYU has had this happen many, many times.
Yeah.
So there's
You
this
should be
precedent.
sensitive.
As negative and as awful as it is, there's still an indication that this could potentially happen again. And so gear up for it and deal with it. But it just has to stop. I don't know what the solution is. You were a sports producer for years. You probably have better ideas than I do. But I just think dealing directly with those students, maybe that sends a message. Maybe there needs to be other sanctions as well.
I think we've seen a marked difference at the Jazz games when they started cracking down on abusive behavior, where they started throwing people out and banning them. That changed behavior. It can be changed. It's not that hard. These schools are just refusing to crack down on it.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. For centuries, Key Bank has been a full-service bank offering a variety of products that work best for you, with personalized solutions designed to meet your unique financial needs and goals. Key Bank's president of the Utah market, Drew Jurgensen, joins us with more.
Key Bank has helped our clients and community thrive for more than 200 years. We have locations throughout the country and offer a variety of services, including deposit, lending, cash management, and investment services. Our goal really is to make it easy to bank with Key. Our team's ability to collaborate with clients to meet them where they are in their goals, their business, their finances, and their life are a big part of what sets us apart from our competitors. Key Bank teammates seriously are the best in the business. Philanthropy is also a large part of who we are at Key, particularly here in Utah, and we're very proud of that fact. Through grants, sponsorships, and volunteering, Key helps organizations make a difference. To learn more about how we can serve your needs, visit key.com or just stop by a local branch. We're here to help with your financial goals and dreams.
Key Bank offers personalized financial solutions and strong community support. Whether it's business growth, financial planning, or everyday banking, they make it easy to manage your money with a knowledgeable team that truly cares about your success. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Discover the thrill of adventure at the Salt Lake Off-Road and Outdoor Expo. Dive into the latest gear, meet industry experts, and explore your passion for the great outdoors. Enthusiasts, friends, and families will learn what's new and what's cool, as well as the chance to win over $40,000 in door prizes and giveaways. Mark your calendars for the 10th annual Salt Lake Off-Road and Outdoor Expo, coming to the Mountain America Expo Center February 28th through March 1st. For tickets and information, visit slorex.com.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hey, let's go.
Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
This all started last week when I came up with multiple ways that I nickel and dime my way to a somewhat inflation-proof budget, although we know that's practically impossible. But this is how I save money. A nickel here, a dime there, a dollar there. And I'll back it up even further. It really all started with KSL Television's investigative reporter Matt Gephardt when he did a story last week on the cost of making your own laundry soap versus the cost of Dave's
Tide Pods. Tide Pods cost about 40 cents per load. And then you broke it down, and Matt broke it down, that you can get a homemade laundry detergent load done by, what, 3.5 cents?
3.5 cents.
It's a tenth the cost.
Yeah, but if you don't want to set up a laundry lab in your kitchen, and there's recipes all over the place online. You can go to Pinterest. You find a lot of recipes on how to make your own detergent, not just laundry soap, and it can save money. If you don't want to do that, you just buy the cheap stuff, the less expensive stuff at the grocery store, right? I have been known to buy the generic brands or buy the much less expensive brands my whole entire adult life. In fact, my kids roast me over this. For a long time, they'd say, "Mom, we're sick of Lieutenant Munch. When are we going to buy Captain Crunch?"
We want all the crunch berries.
I bought generic or store brand. So you can buy that extra laundry soap or whatever is a lot cheaper for about a nickel. And then I broke down like coffee pods. You make the 1 cup coffee, 1 cup of coffee per cup. It's about 40 cents. But if you make an entire pot of coffee, and this is just those Keurig coffee makers, you can also make tea. You can make hot chocolate with them. Just in 1 cup, it's about 40 cents or so. Maybe a little more, a little less for hot chocolate. I didn't do the math on that. But if you bought a coffee pot, and you made 16 ounces of coffee a day, for example, just doing the math on that, it would cost about 3.5 cents, for two 8-ounce cups of coffee. So there's lots of ways around our house that we can be saving money. We just don't do it for whatever reason. And when I was talking about this last week, I didn't get through my whole list. We had so many great phone calls from people who are saving money, a nickel here or dime there, that I didn't get through my whole list. But you also, Dave, last week brought a list of more long-term savings that we can lean into, and yours was a kind of a big investment, like solar panels, and then you were like, but also like electric cars.
Yeah, sell your home. There's some big things you can do, but yours, I think, are probably more realistic to implement today. And as you're saying this, one of the things that kind of pops up in my mind is I'm paying a lot for convenience, of ease.
Yeah.
And if I just carve out a little extra time I have. I may not have money, but I have some time. So some of these things, they might consume some of my time, but time I have.
You're a big audiobook guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So you pay for an app for that,
Yep.
right?
$15 a month.
Free library card, my friend. Free library card. You can get Audible books.
Yep.
You can also get books that you read.
It's a terrible app. I've tried it in the past. It's a terrible, but it does work.
Yeah,
it does work.
No, you do sometimes have to wait for your book, right? Because it's checked out, and they don't just have unlimited supply just because it's online. But I've used it before. I haven't had the terrible app experience that you have. I'm a Spotify gal. That's another thing you can do. I had Audible and I had Spotify and I have Amazon, and so they all offer audiobooks, or you can just get a regular book on your Kindle or whatever that is. Can you consolidate that and save yourself some money there? Here's another one. My daughter actually came up with this when she was 10 years old. She called me at work one day and she goes, "Mama, I want to clean the stainless steel in the kitchen." I'm like, "Who birthed you, child?"
Who thinks of that?
This is amazing.
A sentence my kids have never nor will ever say.
And so she said, I just want to know, is it okay if I use the Pledge, the stuff you use to clean off dust from wood? Can I use it on the stainless steel appliances? And I said, "You cannot. You'll ruin my stainless steel appliances, child." And she goes, "Well, then how come on the back of the can it says you can?" I said, "What are you doing reading the instructions like that?" Yeah, on the back of your wood cleaning, whatever it is, Pledge or whatever I use the off-brand, you can actually clean your stainless steel appliances with that.
Not in a million years would I have guessed that.
And your leather. If you have a leather sofa, you can clean it with that. It actually conditions the leather. Now, somebody who owns a leather shop may be like, "No, don't do that." I've done it. My leather still looks beautiful. But I don't think we look at we don't read the instructions ever. So when our children do, we think, what are they
Didn't know
thinking?
You knew how to read.
Yeah. So you can multi-purpose some of these cleaners. And let me tell you, a good Pledge, like you spray it on your refrigerator if it's stainless steel, you wipe it down. It keeps the fingerprints at bay.
Really?
It keeps it cleaner than just wiping it down. Yeah, I've been
I'm going to
impressed
try
with
it
that.
in a corner first.
Unplug. Oh, yeah, it works, Dave. I've been doing it for years. My stainless steel appliances look amazing. Unplug your appliances when you're not using them. I think we leave them plugged into the wall just in perpetuity because it's easier. But I read online, and I've actually done stories on this when I was a television news reporter. It can save you between $100 and $200 a year because your electricity is just
draws.
Yeah, it's just drawing for useless reasons, So unplug your appliances. I do that with the toaster. I do that with, whatever, the coffee pot gets unplugged. Change your HVAC filters regularly. I do mine every 3 months, and I set a reminder. And on my app or whatever, my calendar, it'll remind me, change the filter. And I've got to climb up on a ladder, and I have to make an arrangement for a neighbor to come over and hold the ladder or my child to be there because
it's up high.
Well, it's up high, but can we talk to contractors about this? It's up high right at the top of my staircase. So can you imagine?
Safety first, Deb.
The balancing
Safety first.
act I would do. I mean, I go up there, and I'm like, okay, I am one misstep away from it all being over. It saves $60 a year just by regularly changing your HVAC filter because it's not working as hard.
Yeah.
It gets dirty. You don't check it.
Okay. So it can breathe better.
Yeah. Turn off the heat on your dishwasher. I saw somebody post on Reddit on this that they did this. They think it is saving several dollars a month by turning off the heat.
I thought the whole point of having a dishwasher was to make it nuclear reactor hot.
No. The whole point of having a dishwasher is to clean scrape the dishes off into the trash can, then wash them down in the sink till they're pristine, and then you put them in the dishwasher.
With not hot water, okay.
I used to wash dishes by hand as a child, so I've always had a dishwasher, but I know I'll be just fine without it. Here's one that's going to be a hard pill to swallow. Stay at home. Stay at home and sit on your hands. Stay at home, put your phone away, and do something productive that does not cost money. Okay?
Killjoy.
Well, let me tell you, I stayed at home a lot this weekend, and I hardly spent any money. I mean, I stayed home. You don't spend money on gas. You find things to do with your family. I read Moonology cards to my daughter.
There you go.
Yeah, right? So we know. Because I want you to look around your house and everything you've been out there buying. I want you to remember that all that stuff used to be money in your bank account.
That's true. We played Monopoly yesterday.
I love it. Did you win?
Of course I won. I beat a 14-year-old. If I can't beat a 14-year-old in Monopoly, I'm done. I'm over. I'm never playing a game again.
Once you get Boardwalk, it's all over for the others.
No. It was Illinois Avenue. Did me well. 4 houses on it. He just couldn't stop landing on them.
Did you make him cry?
I mean, not a full blubber.
No, I know.
But I mean, it was a little teary.
I know. Monopoly is you're in it to win it. Maria Chaleos up next with more on Utah's new news, including an update on what's going on in Utah's Capitol Hill as the legislative session rolls on.
Life can feel hard or overwhelming sometimes, but you don't have to face things alone. Getting help for yourself or someone you're worried about starts with a call or text to 988, where you always have someone to talk to, someone to help you, and somewhere safe to go. 988 Utah is here for anyone experiencing mental health challenges or emotional distress. 988 Utah can even help you navigate how to support your struggling loved ones. Whether you're struggling with anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, trained professionals are ready to listen and provide free, confidential support 24/7. Utah, don't hesitate to call or text 988 for you or someone you care about. The caring staff at 988 Utah can connect you to the right resources. Learn more at 988.utah.gov.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to